Give it a second. Fun. Testing, testing. Oh, that's funny. So you hear the music. You hear the ominous, creepy music. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. What I can't see, though, is our chat. Can I? Oh, there's no one in here. That's why. I'm not expecting too many people. I'm not expecting to. I see. Yeah, I don't even see you. It's going to loop that roll, so we'll start in 10 minutes. Okay. Oh, really? That's fine. All right. All right. Test run, so even if people we don't know what we're doing. We don't. All right. Go for it. Put it on every single thing. That's fine. I don't mind. It's fine. I gotta figure that one out. It's just us bullshitting. That's fine. Let me see something. It's fine. It's not a big deal, dude. Yeah, nah, we're just bullshitting. We're bullshitting at the opening of the show. The show has not officially started. You're just staring at a screen, at a TV with creepy text in it saying that it'll start soon. There you go. So, that's it. All right. Oh. Really? Who doesn't know? It's pretty self-explanatory how to use. She's asking you how to use Letterboxd? Really? Yeah, I have to get better at it this year because I haven't been like at all up. I stopped updating it in October and then kind of slacked the entire time. So hopefully in the new year I can step it. Even if I just do a star rating and then keep it moving to keep track of everything, it would be beneficial, especially for stuff like this. So the way I see it, that's what ends up kind of working the best. So yeah, we'll start in 5 minutes. Alright, hold on. over here. Let me
Not on yet.
no. Yeah, I can hear us now, so. No, we went. Yes. So, can you hear yourself? Can you hear yourself? Okay. Yeah. But can you hear us? You can hear us, though. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's start this. All right, we're gonna start. You ready, sir? There we go. We're live now, sir. We are
We're
on.
live.
We should be on right now. We are live.
Yeah. It's again. I'm waiting for it to pop up here. So there's a delay on our end, so people know. Like I'm checking. I see us now. So I'm being the test. People know that I'm testing it. I'm gonna test the YouTube stream while he runs the YouTube stream. All right, I have audio for both of us.
Hooray! Welcome to obviously the inaugural Haunted Hangover podcast live.
We have our first question.
There you go. I will be answering that in a second. Obviously, we are figuring this shit out still. This is very new to us. I'm very new to OBS. So forgive all the guess not technical difficulties, just the kinks. We're ironing them out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Louie, and I'm joined by Manny. He's here with me. So
I'm here.
He's here. Yes,
I'm here, and I have a mojito.
It's so interesting because considering, whenever you do, I guess, live on, what is it, like Instagram, it's so self-contained. You just hit live and then talk.
It does it all for you.
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to do this the most professional way possible. There is an easier way to do this. I just decided to use a new software I've never used before.
You decided to be a pain in the ass.
To myself. I decided to be a pain in the ass to myself. And whatever. Over time, this will get better. And the plan is to do one of these, I'd say, maybe once or twice a month. Maybe we'll have guests on. Maybe we'll...
Oh, you want to make this more difficult?
And make it more difficult? Yes. I want to just challenge myself. Listen, we won't have a guest on a live show for quite some time until we work out all these kinks. But the plan is eventually, an off-the-cuff kind of raw version of the podcast, because if you listen to the show, I edit the hell out of it, obviously. I put a lot of work into the episodes and kind of just cutting them together and kind of putting everything in its place where it needs to be. We're going live. You're seeing all the mistakes, basically.
That's it.
We're going with the flow in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was excited to do this. Something different for the show. Been doing it for 4 years, going on 5, I think, this April. So I told myself, let's do it live. Let's go in there and let's give it a try.
Let's do it live.
And what better way to test? Now, I do see the chat here. Before I go into what we're going to be talking about,
Mhm.
we got a packed house here tonight. So, and yeah, Lauren Rothschild asked, Louie, did you write the intro song? It's a banger. Hypes me up every time for some spooky shit. I did not write the song. Dave, one of the other hosts of the podcast, who was one of the first people to join me on the show. Obviously, we've got Manny now and a bunch of other people that are involved that come on here with me. Dave wrote that song when we started the show. I told him, hey, we need a theme song for the podcast. And he wrote that in like 2 hours, sent it to me. And that's the main theme of Haunted Hangover. It's been the main theme for 5 years. So it's not going anywhere. We do have a couple of other themes that Dave also wrote. I think he wrote one for whenever we cover the Haunted Hall episodes, like whenever we cover movies on Haunted Hall and Anthology Obscura. Had a feeling. Vaporwave AF. Yes, Vaporwave AF. That's the go-to whenever we talk about anything that sounds kind of slow and synthy. And kind of what Dave writes. Dave will be jumping on these two in the future. For all you fans of Dave out there. Maybe you don't want to see Manny and I. You want to just see Dave. just Dave by himself on the podcast. No, yeah. I want to have all of us on one episode. They want to talk about craziness. That'll be something we'll probably do in the future. Have 5 people, 4 heads on a live episode of Haunted Hangover. But yes, the plan here is to talk about last year, which is 8 days old now. Still very, very new. Very, very early in the new year here. 2023. The good, the bad, the ugly. What else, Manny? What else goes with good, bad, and ugly?
I don't know. I mean, how many other
the shitty
emotion? How many other emotions do you really want?
Yeah, you're right. Good, bad, and ugly. That's basically all you have.
That's pretty much it. That's it.
But yeah, we were gonna just jump on
I'm
here.
Sharing, just so you know.
You're
sharing
live while we're doing this.
I'm trying to share it. I want people to follow it. I want people to see it. So I'm sharing it.
Manny wants people to tune in.
Yes.
So, anyone?
I'm telling the TikTok.
You're telling the TikTok? Oh,
I'm telling the TikTok.
I don't even think I posted about this on TikTok. I forgot. I forget about TikTok all the time. There's too much. We were talking before we jumped on air here. We were talking about Letterboxd. I forgot about Letterboxd too, which would have been beneficial for this episode because
probably.
Yeah, I would have been able to keep track of certain things on here. But yes, we're going to talk about some of our favorite and maybe not so favorite things that came out in 2023. Some movies, maybe some music here, which is probably where we're going to start. Probably start low on the totem pole.
Well, since you know what, Lauren already started talking about the music, so let's start with our favorite music things of 2023.
Yes. I'm going to let you start because I think you have the more interesting. Mine is just an album that I really liked and I listened to a lot this year, so I feel like it's kind of boring. It's just one single thing. You discovered something that I had never even heard of. Explain.
Okay, so yeah, I unfortunately I'm a little behind on new music. I have the new Ghost album, and I have the new Catatonia album.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten the new Poppy album, which I really want to hear, but I haven't gotten it yet. So I'm a little behind on music, and neither of those are really. I mean, Ghost, I guess, is Halloween-y, but you want Halloween-y, something that fits the theme of the show.
Yes.
More than
on brand.
And that's fine. Yes. So specifically on brand, although not for you, you do a Halloween mix every year. Your little Halloween mix thing. I used to do my own as well when I was on Collection Resurrection and Dark Tales from Channel X. I used to make it. So I don't make the mixtape every year, but every year I want to find a whole bunch of, spooky kind of Halloween music to even just to make a playlist in the car and listen to and just drive around for the month, just like listening to the Halloween theme music and, whatever else. So I was looking for some stuff that I did not have before. I had just watched Rockula for the first time, which is hilarious if you've never seen it.
Rockula's the best, yeah.
And it has an amazing soundtrack. So I was trying to find the Rockula music. And
that's
I know, right? Because the song is great.
I forget how it goes.
The song is hilarious. In my quest, I found this website. It's HalloweenShindig.com.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, it, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if this is true or if it's just the theme of the website, but the way the website is presented is a bunch of playlists. Okay. So you go to the website and you see like there's 9 different playlists sitting there, one being full playlist. What these are, they are done in the style as though you were listening to a live radio show.
Hmm.
Okay. There are somewhere in the realm of 360 tracks on here that are all Halloween music,
Yeah,
whether it
I'm
is,
looking at the site right
yeah,
now. It's a lot.
just
It's
specifically
impressive.
Halloween music
Yeah.
or music from Halloween, like haunted movies. So the Trick or Treat soundtrack is on there, all the different, but they're all individual songs put into playlists. Okay. The Elvira CDs are all on there,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Um, I see the Munsters theme here, and I'm just scrolling through the things that are on this
Is this
Attack
a
of the Killer Tomatoes.
podcast? Like, is it a podcast where they have like a guy that
No,
hosts it and then plays
there is a
music?
host.
Ah,
I
okay.
don't know if
That's
this
pretty
guy is,
cool.
I know it is. I don't know if
Yeah.
this guy is actually a radio host or he's
Okay.
just playing one for the playlist. But
Okay.
what's actually really cool, like I said, you play it like you listen to it as though um it were an actual live radio. So
That's pretty
he
sick.
actually he actually edited clips from the movies into it as though he were live DJing and just throwing samples into the songs,
Hmm.
so you can just let it play and you'll hear all the music, you'll hear clips from the movies, you'll hear like channel changing in between things. Sometimes he introduces it. There's a little like I know on the Elvira tracks, this is why I think he might actually have been a radio host, because some of the Elvira tracks are literal old interviews
Mm-hmm.
with Elvira from like 1985 introducing the song.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I'm
there'll
looking
be
I'm
like
I'm looking
two.
at his site and I see he's even got kind of a blog. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, I'm looking at I just kind of scrolled down. You can see he's got the American Werewolf in London soundtrack and some excerpt.
Yes.
I guess he just typed something up to talk about it why he picked that album. It's pretty
Yep.
cool. I've never even heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is brand new to me.
Yeah, and
Impressive.
it's really cool. And this was pretty much my whole October was just going through all of this music, and it was just
Halloween
so cool getting
shindig.
all this. Now, I'm not gonna. Now, I don't want to. I don't want to advocate piracy, but if you are tech enough, you know how to download these. You figure
Yes.
out how to download these things. It's really not difficult. There are download links here. Actually, oh, right there. Download the Shindig, and you can download all the songs. So
All
there,
the
I don't
episodes.
even have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have to say it, although whatever. But yeah, there's a download the Shindig, and I think that's literally all the songs. But when you go to the website, songs by era, songs by type, mini playlist, Shindig Radio, so you can listen to the. I think that on Shindig Radio, it just plays them randomly, like
Mm.
it generates a random.
Yeah.
Does it?
That's really
Uh,
cool. That's cool that he has all these options. Yeah, you can
yeah.
literally just in this mini playlist,
Mm-hmm.
songs by icon, songs by
Yep.
type,
Mini
full
playlist. So
playlist.
Freddie's greatest hits
Yeah. Yeah.
album is there. You can listen to it that way. Happy Hollow Weird. And this is so we have the real Ghostbusters, we have Punky Pumpkin. So it's 11 songs of just weirder kind of, one by
Yeah.
Zachary, one by Tim Curry. I'm assuming that's from The Worst Witch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to skimming through this just because I've never even heard. I'm surprised I'm not hearing more people that are in the Halloween scene or into
Mm-hmm.
Halloween like we are
Song by Butch
talking about
Patrick from
this.
2007.
Yeah, dude, it
Jesus.
looks really informative too. Like I'm looking at it and it's like not just playlists. There's actual like a blog. Like he has
Mm-hmm.
pieces here, they, whoever it is, has basically entries per release I see here talking about the albums, talking, wow, this is really comprehensive. This is impressive. Dude,
Just made your day.
how'd you come across this?
I told you I was looking for the Rockula soundtrack.
Oh, it was
And
just the
I
rock. It
found
was just Rockula, and you came
I
across.
was looking for Rockula, and I was just going through
Gotcha.
links trying to find somewhere to either download it or buy it,
Oh, okay.
like good quality, because you can
Yeah.
find it on YouTube, but it's, crap quality. So I was
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
find like
Yeah.
really good quality. And even this, some of these songs are not all the best quality either, but again, a lot of them have clips of the movie in it. So it's really
Yeah.
like you're listening to a playlist, a mix,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of all this random stuff. So it is really cool. And Yeah, I know. I said it's just made your day, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to like go through this entire site. I'm so curious to like even talk to the person that runs this. Maybe have them on the show
Yeah,
in the
maybe you
future.
might. Yeah.
Yeah, just because like the concept of recreating an old Halloween broadcast and just playing, and in all honesty, a lot of the old songs, like even when you listen to the Tuesday night song from Nightmare on Elm Street 4, that's a rip
Mhm.
from the movie. You can tell. You hear the sound effects and all that stuff from it. So a lot of the times, some of these old songs that were hard to find, they just
Yeah,
ripped them from the
that's
movies and
that's what I
stuff like
mean, like
that.
low quality. Like, okay, so even looking on here, there's the Halloween track number 360. The
Yeah.
blog post is from October 31st, 2023. So this guy is still actively running the site and
Yeah.
probably still adding to it. So, hey, maybe we get him on the show.
Yeah, that would be cool. Gotta
Yeah.
shoot an email over because this
Hmm.
is I'm like looking at it. Even the site is so organized. I was like, this is
Love me,
impressive.
Dracula.
That's hilarious, dude. That's amazing. Very
Hmm.
cool. That's very cool. That's a cool
Yes.
find.
So
I'm
halloweenshindig.com, everybody.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this website, especially during Halloween. A lot of people, you don't really find too many stations that are playing Halloween music. So
Hmm.
the fact that you can just download
And
these
that annoys me.
playlists, well, yeah.
That bugs me.
Like
Like
even if
I
you have
listen to
Sirius doesn't really even have a
I was just
Halloween
gonna say I
station.
listened to
Yeah.
Sirius and I remember listening like driving around on Halloween and just like why is nobody playing? There's a couple of things here and there. There was the folk station had a Halloweeny kind of playlist, but it was more stuff that kind of sounded like Amigo the Devil. It was
Yeah.
more dark rather than actual Halloween. But I was just I was bummed. Like, why is there not more Halloween
Yeah.
music just playing all the time? Like, why do they not create a temporary like typo negative style station?
Yeah.
Like because Sirius does like temporary stations. So why not like a typo negative type station with that? And you get like Coal Chamber and Nightwish, you know what I mean? All those
Yeah.
kind of spooky gothy bands, and just let that run for a month or so.
Yeah,
You know?
I know they have shows because I remember a few years ago I was looking up on Sirius for Halloween like a
Scream
station.
Radio is
Like
the
you have
most Scream.
yeah, you have like
Yeah, they
50
have Scream
Christmas
Radio.
stations, but they barely have any
It's
Halloween.
unbelievable.
Yeah, so I was looking for that too, and at this point, it's kind of like you could create your own playlist with Spotify or whatever you use,
Yeah.
or even create your own playlist, edit it together, and then put it on your phone and play it in your car. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird that there's not even on normal. What is it? Terrestrial radio, like what we have here in New
Yeah,
York.
regular radio.
Yeah, like
terrestrial
like
radio.
Light
AM.
FM here. Like, why don't they have like an hour every night in October that plays? They're gonna
Yeah.
play Ghostbusters and Monster Mash, the same songs everyone knows. But regardless, it'd be kind of cool
Yeah.
if someone
Do you
did
have
that.
Sirius?
I do, but I'll be very honest. At this point,
Look
I
for
don't.
dark. Look up. Do you listen to Darkwave?
Oh, I've heard that's the goth 2-3
Yeah,
hour
every
block
Sunday
of
night.
post punk and goth. Yeah,
Yeah, every Sunday night is
yeah.
goth and post punk stuff. He had a Halloween. He does a Halloween episode
I
every
think I
year,
might
which
have
is
listened to
great.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And though
which
like
is great.
he'll
So
cut
lots
in
of
like
sisters
shots.
and
He'll
yep.
cut in like not shots, but like samples and clips from movies too, right? I know the metal
Sometimes.
station does that sometimes.
Jose Mangan does
Yeah,
that.
they'll play they'll cut in
Yes.
clips from movies from Hellraiser and stuff like that in between spooky, I guess, metal songs and things like that. But yeah, this is a cool website. I'm definitely gonna dive into this. Even though Halloween just ended, the holidays just ended. This would have been great to have in October, but not regardless, it's pretty cool. And I'm definitely gonna reach out to this guy and see if he wants to be on the show because
Yeah.
I have heard no one speak about this Halloween shindig website.
It's really cool. HalloweenShindig.com, people. It's really cool Halloween music. Oh,
We don't
check
even
it
know
out.
the guy that runs it, and we're
No
promoting
idea.
it. So,
I randomly found it, and I've been in love with it ever
Yeah.
since I found it.
very, very cool. So I've got an album. I have albums. I have a list of them, but I'm not going to get into that here because a lot of them aren't really spooky. Some of them are metal albums. Some of them are all kinds of stuff. But I thought there's this one band I really like. They've actually been featured, speaking of our Halloween mixtape that Dave and I do every year. But there's this band called Grave Pleasures. I'm a big fan of their stuff. And they released a new album this year called Plague Boys. And I don't think
Okay.
you're too familiar with them. I don't think
I
you've
know
listened.
the name.
Yeah.
I might follow them on Bandcamp.
Probably. I might have actually
Probably.
sent you a link to this album because I was like, I think you'd like this. They sound sort of like, I'd say a heavier. Not Joy Division would not be a good comparison because Joy Division is way slow and kind of drony, but like almost like a faster post punk in a way, a little more aggressive, almost like if there was like a metal post punky feel somewhere in the middle. It's not very it's not
Grave
heavy.
Pleasures?
The music, Grave Pleasures, yeah, and it's a great dude. The whole album. There's a song called Disintegration Girl. It's the first track on the album.
Yes, I know that one.
Fantastic. It's great.
Yes.
You know, it's fucking amazing. And the entire album from beginning to end to me is a Halloween listen. All their stuff is perfect for autumn, for the fall, for October, for spooky drives to a haunted house. This year I was this close to putting another one of their songs on a play. Did I? I don't know. This year I don't think I did. I get it confused because we've done like 5 of them already so far. But I know one of their songs in the past is on one of our Halloween mixtapes. And I could see myself picking a song from Plague Boys and putting it, you know, on maybe this year's Halloween mixtape. I do have some leads and some songs I'm going to pick. I think this year I want to have a monster size one where there's just everyone in the Haunted Hangover crew gives me a couple of songs.
I gotta pick 5 songs.
Oh man, that's gonna
create
be
a 3-hour playlist.
It's gonna be. Oh, that'll be. Listen, that's people will listen to a 3-hour spooky Halloween playlist. So
Like I haven't done. I think the last time I created an actual playlist was like 2015 or 2016, and it was that 2-hour Satanic Panic playlist, and it had clips from the interviews of what's her name, Michelle Remembers, and I had clips from Coven and all crazy. It was all like a 2-hour satanic.
I've done that one time. I've done one
I
time.
love doing that.
Yeah, they're fun to put. It's a lot of work with doing the show and other stuff. It's hard for me to sit down, get 12 songs, find samples, find sound effects, put them all together. I did it, I think, twice. And I believe I might have, in the infancy of Haunted Hangover, like really early on, shared a link to one of them, to one of my previous playlist, and a couple people gave me feedback, said they really liked it, because I remember I picked a song from Sleepaway Camp 2, and I had, you know, a clip from that with Angela, and just kind of they all melted. They're fun, but a lot of work.
They are a lot of. That's my problem, is that I end up working on them too late. It ends up being like October 10th or 15th and I'm like, I can't start compiling shit now. It's just, you know, I gotta put it together in like August or something and just edit it, you know, pick the songs then.
You can't wait till the last minute, because then you're not gonna do it. That's what ends up happening. So
you know what I want to add one more.
What?
The Duran Duran album.
I didn't listen to it. I remember you sending it to me. It was a cool concept that they were covering Halloween songs. That's pretty cool.
Yes. I'm going to add that. The Duran Duran. I know you had another one, so you talk about that. I just wanted to say it before I forgot.
No, that's my only one. I was going to mention another album, but it doesn't really have anything to do with Halloween. So it was the band Liturgy. I think you pronounce it Liturgy. It's a black metal. It's like a folky black metal band. Very good. Their last album, it came out not that long ago. Very good. Not much about it is Halloween, so I stuck with Grave Pleasures, but Plague Boys, because that album does kind of have autumn feels. But to move forward, keeping in the Halloween, the 2023 Halloween season, and things about it that we liked. We're not getting into the likes just yet. We're gonna stick with the disappointments. Disappointing.
We give the bad news.
Yeah,
then the good
we're starting
news.
with the bad stuff. When it comes to our list of things we loved about the year, about 2023, it's like we start with the bad stuff. But the most disappointing thing about the 2023 Halloween season, I'll start this one, because when Dave and I recorded our post 2023 Halloween episode, I forgot to mention it. Someone actually left a comment in the episode, and they asked me if I was able to find the Starbucks slime cup. So you didn't know this existed.
Did not know.
So
I had no idea this was. I haven't been to a Starbucks in I don't know how long.
So
I'm not a coffee
them.
person.
Yes,
yeah,
I
don't drink coffee. So
massive coffee drinker here.
Yes,
but I go to them. I go to them a couple times a week, I'd say I go to a Starbucks. So apparently, and this goes for the holidays, this goes for Halloween, this goes for Valentine's Day. And speaking of which, they just released a new cup. They teamed up with another one of those tumbler companies that releases their own tumblers. I don't know. And they released a pink one.
Stanley.
Yes, I believe it's Stanley. They just released a pink one or red one for Valentine's Day. And
both pink and red,
people lined up overnight for a cup.
Fucking cup.
Yes.
This is way cooler than that pink or red one.
And this goes all the way back around to the Halloween cup. I did not know that people went this insane and crazy for these specialty novelty cups. I knew they were popular, but I didn't think people lined up overnight like some Black Friday
told
shit.
them they have to like it.
Yeah, whatever. The algorithm told them they have to like it.
The gram told them.
So this past October, and they usually start dropping them, I think in like August or early September is when you start to see them pop up in the Starbucks locations. Mm-hmm. The cup, they had a couple, I think they had 3 of them. But the cup I wanted was a bright neon green cup. And if you listen to our anticipated Halloween items episode that Grimy and I did back, I think in August, I mentioned really wanting this cup. It's bright green, like a lime green, with slime oozing around the corner, the edges of the cup, and that glows in the dark. Awesome. Very cool looking cup. I was willing to drop the whatever, $25, $30 for it. No big deal. Yeah, they're cups. They're very expensive.
This kind of cup?
It's a little bigger than that. A little taller. I'd say
somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle, yeah. And there's no handle on it. It's just a smooth cup, a tumbler. I went, I'd say, to about 20 Starbucks and could not find this damn cup.
Wow.
And that was probably the most disappointing thing to me about the 2023 Halloween season. I found everything else I wanted in the junk food front, like on the end of like all the junk food stuff I do here with Grimy. And, you know, I got to do a lot of Halloween activities, stuff here at Haunted Hangover, obviously. But this damn cup, could not find it. But I've got some developments. So I went on eBay literally a night or two ago.
I've got some
I got some developments here. I went on eBay a night or two ago.
I will not be deterred.
Dude, and this is why they were hard to find. Because people would get there like at 5 a.m. and would snatch up 15 of the cups. So probably all 10 that they had. And then walk out. That's what people at the store, that's what the workers would tell me. People would come. So the point that now with that Valentine's Day pink and red tumbler, Stanley tumbler, they told only 1 per family.
2.
Or 2, whatever. So I don't think they did that with the Halloween cups because I never even got to see one in person. Not a single Halloween cup from Starbucks. I don't know if this is just an issue in New York. My buddies from Terrorac's videos, they got one. Because they put up a picture of it, and I spoke to Sarah from Terrorac's video. She was able to find one, and I'm like, God damn it, I could not find one for the life of me. My life depended on it. I would not find the stupid cup.
You'd be dead.
But yes, back to the eBay situation. The dude had like 20 of them. Last I looked, he had 9 cups left.
That's some fucker who works for Starbucks.
Probably
took a case of that shit home.
Probably, and he knows he could flip them. Now,
that's it.
In October, when they were selling the slime cups, I saw people flipping them for, I'd say, $50, which I refuse to pay $50 for a cup. That's ridiculous. So I said, I'm going to wait for Halloween to come and go, wait for the holidays to pass, the new year. I was bored, sitting on the couch, looking up nonsense on eBay. I said, let me search these cups. $20, not even $23. I hearted it because when you heart things on eBay, they give you an offer that hidden they discount it sometimes by a couple of bucks. So the guy lowered the price from like $24 to $20. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I might have to this week. I really want the stupid cup.
What's the in-store price? What was the in-store price?
I think $30. is what the
Damn. So you
yeah,
get it
yeah.
cheaper. What are you waiting for a
I know.
discount for?
Well, they don't. I'm not gonna find it now. It's already the new year.
Exactly. So you might as well
So
get it the
I
$25
don't know
one, you
why
cheap bastard.
I know I'm being a
Being
cheapskate.
a fucking
Let me
cheap
let me.
son of a bitch. I've been waiting 4 months for this shit, and it's lower than it was in the store. I'm still not
Yes.
gonna buy it. This
So
fucker better give.
now the problem is, I'm hoping these are not like counterfeit slime cups from Starbucks. I don't think they are. They look legit. But I was like,
Somebody
I'm gonna buy
3D printed themselves.
Probably not even gonna drink from this thing. I'm just gonna. Honestly, it's gonna collect dust in my kitchen cabinet. In reality, that's what we all do with this nonsense. But yes, that's the most disappointing thing. I wanted to find one in the wild. There's just something special about that.
I
Go
understand
in.
the thrill of the hunt. I was at
Yes.
two different Mr. Cheapos today, and just looking for. We were redecorating,
Yeah.
doing some movie posters. So I was going all around with looking for posters. So I understand. She's
Yeah.
over here looking at movieposters.com. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to the store. I want to find something.
Exactly. So for me, it was just like, okay, I want to go in and get my latte or my coffee and just find one. And I try to do that about 15 times. Fail.
Walk out with a Beetlejuice cup. You know?
No, I did not walk out with a Beetlejuice cup. I walked out with no cup. I had no. The cup I purchased, dude. I walked into some Starbucks looking for the slime cup, and just walked out with nothing. I was like, I already had my 2 cups of coffee today.
You didn't even have your dignity.
No, yes, I walked in and looked. Walked right back out. I was like, I'm not even gonna support them right now because I want,
give me a cup.
I want my cup.
Shit.
Dude, if you didn't look up pictures of the cup. The cup's awesome. I'm sure there's people that listen to our show, watch our videos. I know people. I know people that have the cup, and I explained to them that in New York, there's probably like gang warfare for these stupid.
It looks like
cups.
a Ghostbusters cup.
Dude, yeah, exactly.
I see why you like it. Yeah, that's a Ghostbusters cup.
And that was the most disappointing nonsense.
2022 had a Raven. That's cool.
Dude, they're awesome because it's usually like different degrees of Halloween cup. There's kind of like a minimalist one, somewhere in between, and then the ridiculous one that who would actually drink out of this thing? That's usually that's how they.
Who would drink out of this?
Who would drink out of this silly looking cup?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
the 2021 one looked like this actually.
Yeah,
it didn't have the handle, but it was.
Yeah, and they're cool. So. Next year, if the cup is cool, maybe I'll get my hands on it. But I'm probably going to end up going the eBay route because I really wanted it. So that's my disappointing thing about the 2023 Halloween season. What about you, Manny?
Disappointed. Mine is personal in that same aspect. We do a fairly large Halloween display ever since we moved to the new house. And I was working on a low-lying fog machine. And I got it close, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I actually had a cooler that had broken inside, like it had cracked. So we'd already replaced it. So I just had an old cooler. And coolers can be freaking expensive.
Yeah.
You don't want to start drilling holes into a $90 cooler. Like what? You know what I mean? But like I said, it was an old one, it was pretty big and it had a crack in it. So it wasn't going to hold. So we'd already replaced it. So I sealed up the inside of that and I put the holes in it. Anybody who knows, you can just Google how to make a low lying fog machine, and what I wanted to do was I had a hose for it and I wanted the fog to run through the hose. I was going to run the hose across the back, like across the whole back of the yard so that the smoke would just flow across the yard. It would look really cool. Unfortunately, just the problem with it is your hose and the hole in the hose and everything has to stay like the same size throughout the entire chain, from the, so the hose being like maybe an inch and the head of the fog machine hose that goes into it being a 3-inch hose, just that downgrade of size kept the pressure from pushing the smoke through the hose. you know? So I couldn't actually get it through it. I decided I'm going to probably get like a little exhaust fan to push it through and give it some more pressure for next year.
Okay.
You know, but me and Lynn spent a couple of days just working on this and sealing everything, and it looked good. So when I took the hose off and just stuck that outside, and it worked great. Like it went through the smoke. I found an easier way of doing it instead of dry ice. And dry ice works the best because it also smokes.
Yeah.
But instead of using like bags of ice, like I'm sure you've tried to do this before. Try to cool
Yes.
fog.
Yeah.
Fog is very hot,
Yeah.
so when you use like a bag of ice, it melts it instantly. I found a better way to do it. I got like Poland Spring bottles and froze them a couple days. So now I'm talking like it's an ice cube the size of this. And I dumped a bunch of those into it. And those things stayed. Like they did not melt because
And this was just for Halloween. Halloween.
It was just
day.
for Halloween.
Just
yeah,
because your display was pretty elaborate. So
yeah, but I only put out the smoke machine on Halloween because people are coming. We got kids trick or treaters in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
there's no reason to run it a week beforehand. I'm not doing that. But yeah, so instead of using ice cubes and buying bags of ice and making ice cube, freeze a pack of water. Just throw a bunch of bottles of water in your freezer and freeze them. And those things, like no nonsense. Like 4 days later, there were still a couple bottles that were still frozen because the day after Halloween, everything started raining.
Yeah.
So I had the thing out in the middle of the yard. I just brought the fog machine itself in and I left the rest just in the front yard. I'm like, let it, whatever. I don't care. Like it's just a cooler, it's just a cooler painted black. So I let it sit out there. And when I finally brought it in, there was still some frozen inside. So a much better option than buying ice cubes, just bottles of water.
Yeah. But I know the dry ice thing. Like whenever people want to get that low fog look, that's usually the go-to.
Dry ice is just expensive.
So you have to buy a lot of it too for an entire front yard.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Would have dropped like $1,000 on dry ice.
Yeah, you do. You end up dropping a couple $100 on it, and it's so a couple bottles of water. I think I had like maybe 12, 14 bottles of water in the cooler, and it worked just fine. Yeah. The downgrade of the size of the hose was kind of just, so I stood there like Halloween day. I just kept trying different hoses and I'm like, and the pressure because our neighborhood there's a lot of kids in our neighborhood and you're like, okay, kids get out of school around 3:00. So by like 4:30, they're going to be ringing the bell.
Yeah. So you were rushing to get this
done. It's like a clock, yes.
Yeah.
I feel there's a clock going. I'm like, I gotta fix this. I eventually ended up having to take the hose off, and it just ran. So I didn't get the full. So that's kind of my disappointment. I worked on it for a few days, and I couldn't get it.
Next year, well, this year, not even next year. This year, this Halloween,
yeah. I'm gonna add an exhaust fan to it, like just like a little $10 computer fan, just to give it some push, so the smoke goes through it. And I think that should be enough. I also got a couple extra fog machines from Spirit Halloween when they were like the day after. They're not supposed to be on sale, but
you got them on sale?
I got them on sale. I got the fog machines and the black lights are not supposed to be part of the 50% off sale. But I got there when they opened the doors and they hadn't put the managers hadn't put up a sign saying that these were excluded from the sale, so he gave them to me. So I got 2 fog machines and like four of the 4-foot black lights.
There you go, a little hack. Get there right when they open, when the sale starts.
Overwhelm them at the front door.
Everything is 50% off. The entire store.
Asshole at Starbucks buying shit before Louie walks in.
Oh no! Just don't buy the cup. Leave me one cup if you can. Leave me one cup.
I'll get you a cup and send
there you go.
$30.
$30 slime cup from Starbucks. Watch, and I bet you this year it'll be even more ridiculous. Like the crazy cup that Starbucks had, it'll be even more ridiculous. I'm gonna want it too. So. We'll see.
It seems like as though they realize like Instagram and TikTok are making these things more popular. They do more.
Of course. It's all viral. It's all for viral nonsense.
It is.
People to take a picture. Like I said, people take their photo, they drink their one sip picture, and they put it in the cupboard to collect us. Whatever.
Yeah. I've been saying it for years. You give them your name, and you know how they always get your name wrong? They do that shit on purpose. I guarantee. Because when people started posting about it, look at this ridiculousness. I guarantee you, somewhere in Starbucks training, they tell you, give you their name wrong, and people will post about it. I guarantee you, it's
I never
part
thought
of
it that way.
Yeah, they do it on purpose. There's no way. Sometimes you tell them your name, and it's like, hey, my name is Manny. Here's Raul. What? Like, not even close.
Raul, here's your pumpkin spice latte. And you're like, that's not for me.
Like, what? No, that's you.
How'd you go?
I'm the only one here.
How'd you go from Manny to Raul?
I don't know.
That Starbucks employee found a way to change it. Ridiculous. All right. Favorite Halloween things. I'll start. Mine's simple. Not much to this. I got to go to Texas this October. So I got to experience a Texas spooky season for a couple days with Sam, my sister, another Haunted Hangover alum, I guess.
Do you have any friends that are not on this show?
Everybody in my circle's on this show.
This is just part of being friends with you. Look, if you want to be friends, you got to be on the show. Otherwise,
friends, even related to me, you got to be on Haunted Hangover. But
Mother's Day, we're gonna have moms on here.
All the moms are gonna be on.
Moms are gonna be on.
But yeah, I got to go to Texas. I checked out this haunt, Creepy Hollow, which I reviewed on the channel. Go check out that review. Had a blast. Won't go into too much detail because it's a full 25-minute long review I put up a month or so ago. Go give that a watch. But I also got to go to the Renaissance Fair in Texas. So I've been to the one out here, which is, I'd say, about half the size of the Renaissance Fair, in Texas, because obviously everything's bigger in Texas. So this thing was huge. And what was cool about it was, here, the New York Renaissance Fair, they've got, a torture dungeon, wax museum type situation, but it's tiny. Out there, it's like 2 floors. They've got like, I've never even seen this before, and I've seen people joke around about it, but when you go to a carnival, they've got, the basketball hoop and win a prize if you get 2 in or something. Yeah. Severed heads, mannequin heads that you're tossing to get into right next to the guillotine. Awesome. I actually took some pictures of it because it just looked, I had never seen, that's something you'd see in a movie. Like, that's what you'd want to see at a Halloween event or, something like that, or a Renaissance fair where you take severed heads and you're putting those through a basketball hoop. They had that. They had a horror movie memorabilia museum, which was kind of random that was sitting, that was there at a Renaissance fair, but still cool nonetheless. It actually looked like a haunted house. And it was just overall like a cool experience, just the way the layout was and just seeing, and I'm not going to say I'm this, big medieval times guy. I didn't go dressed up as like an elf or anything like that. I went as regular old, elf, whatever, a knight, a warlord, whatever, a hobbit. I have no idea.
Dio. Go as Dio.
Just go as Dio. Holy diver.
That's it. Yeah, always be Dio.
Just go as Dio. But yeah, I don't dress up, so I just went as myself. But it was still a cool experience just to kind of see it, someplace else, just to see what it was like, in another state. And just to see what Halloween's like in another place. There's no autumn there. It's just dry and warm. So it's a whole different climate.
About that.
Yeah.
We talked about that before, about whether
we did.
Halloween, out of that Midwest and Western side of the country, that Halloween has a different look than we know it to be in the Northeast.
And you feel that in Texas and California and stuff like that. But it was just cool to go hang out, check out some. We went to this Beetlejuice bar called not like what we have, not
Bar,
not Beetle House like we have here. Yeah. I think there's one in California, which we also reviewed on the not on the podcast, but on the channel a long time ago, like 5 years ago. We actually, a group of us, when that was before the podcast. Which I've been to. I don't think I went to the West Coast one. I just went to the one here in New York, Beetle House.
I haven't been to this one yet.
This one's called just Beetlejuice. It's just it's almost like, and I mean no offense towards the owners of this establishment, it's a bootleg Beetle House. but we had a good time. Like they had themed
With
cocktails.
no thought into it whatsoever.
It was like literally, it was like what they wish this was Beetle House. It wasn't that elaborate, but it was still a cool place. You know, they had some references to the movie, to like the Beetlejuice movie. They had some references to other horror movies. It was Halloween, so they were playing horror movies. What was really cool was there's a cocktail that they sell, and I think it's the menus. I think it's like 4 different cocktails, and each one of them come in a little Halloween cup, sippy cup. So the drink, when you order this drink, you have to get it in this little cup, and you keep the cup. So I thought that was really cool, and the drinks were powerful. These little, dude, it was like this big. It literally is. I hold it like that, a little jack-o'-lantern, and dude, it was like I think I got the margarita version of it, whatever their spooky version of a margarita was.
Well, I
mean,
mean, this
so good.
I got this from Beetlejuice the Musical.
Yes, I remember. I actually saw that as well. So
yeah, you get your drinks. You get your drink in this, and you get to keep the cup.
Yeah. So that Beetlejuice or Beetlegeist bar
cup is strange and reusable.
Yeah, it was in. If anyone ever visits Texas and wants to check out this bar, it's called Beetle House, or Beetle House or Beetlegeist.
Beetle House isn't Beetle House
that Beetle House one here? So it's Beetlegeist. It's like Beetlejuice's real name, Beetlegeist, and it's in Houston, Texas, downtown Houston.
You know, I was actually thinking about this the other day because his name is Beetlegeist in the movie.
Yeah.
Is that because he cannot tell you his name? So he purposely has it misspelled.
You're right.
I never really put much thought into it, although we probably shouldn't because, whatever, it's silly.
It's Beetlejuice.
It was shower thoughts. Thought, just thinking about it like, I think he purposely spelled it wrong because he can't give you his name.
You think he can't write his own name either? They think that counts?
Exactly. Like he can't tell you. He can't do it. It's like Rumpelstiltskin. He can't tell you.
Yeah.
So he's got it. But he can tell you if he misspells it.
Interesting. Wow. This really
look at that. Beetlejuice is Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh no. We've just uncovered something that no one has noticed for 35, 40 years now. When did that movie come out? 88?
Tim Burton's been waiting for somebody to catch it. Like, sons of bitches.
That is the twist
Nobody's
ending
paying attention.
Of Beetlejuice 2. He's actually Rumpelstiltskin. That's all. He is Beetlejuice is Rumpelstiltskin. But yeah, Beetlegeist Bar, downtown Houston. Cool spot. Texas was awesome. Had a great time being there in October. So that's probably one of my favorite things about the 2023 Halloween season. My favorite Halloween thing, if I had to choose something from last year. Manny, favorite Halloween thing from last year?
You know what? We went to Carnival of Horrors. Is that right? Yeah, Carnival together.
Yes, we did.
That was really cool. Chambers of Hell. Chambers of Hell.
Wow,
Carnival of Horrors.
Completely wrong.
Hey, Mojito.
There you go.
Yes. It was one of my favorite things of the year. Of the Halloween year. We went to Chambers of Hell, and for 2 reasons. Number one, because it was an awesome little press night. We got to walk through a haunted house. We went through the haunted house. I think the haunted house by itself is maybe a 15-minute walk.
That specific one, because there's multiple. We only went through one. Yeah.
The whole thing. We went through 2 of the houses. Of the 3, maybe a 15-minute walk by itself. What did we walk through? Took us like maybe 40 minutes to walk through, which was really cool being able to walk through, take your time, and we videotaped things and, and we talked and we got to actually look at it. And that was one of my favorite things. I've always enjoyed going to like a friends and family night for a haunted house because you can take your time. And we even purposely stood at the back of the line.
Oh,
again,
you guys.
It was a press night. It was a press night. So there were only like maybe 10 other press junket people there. But we purposely stood at the back so we could take our time.
Yeah.
And
I
we
do
still
that all the
somehow
time.
caught up to other people.
Oh, dude, because everyone gets scared in haunted attractions. So you always, there's always human, and this doesn't sound right. There's always human traffic in a haunt. So the human.
Well, there was that other woman in front of us, she had a YouTube channel or something, but she was taking photos there. So she was like doing almost photo shoots in every room. And I think that's why we caught up to her. Remember that one girl. So that was the one reason. And number 2, because you saw how many people did I know that worked there? a bunch of really old friends that I haven't seen since like 2018, since before the pandemic. It turns out a bunch of them work there, you know? So on top of it being this really cool haunted house that we could just kind of walk through, and it was really, really good. I got to see whole lot of my old horror friends, you
All right.
know, and catch up with a bunch of them. So twofold, it was really that made, and me and Lynn went back the next week and we did the extra room, and we saw two other people who worked there who weren't there for media night,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yeah, that Chambers of Hell was my favorite little
Yeah.
thing.
That'll
Let's
play
not get
into that'll play into something a little later in the episode that we're gonna talk about.
oh oh
Sort of, kind of.
oh
But yeah, that was it was fun. That had been my second time going to their malevolent media night, is what it's called, Manny.
mm-hmm.
But it was good
Excuse
to go.
me.
It was cool for us to go and just have a good time, get a drink, and do all of that. Just like for Haunted Hangover, and then also just to have a good time. Got to interview. Yep. Listen, I had a blast interviewing the monsters. The legit,
Mm-hmm.
it's a shoot. The monsters in the haunted house. Those were real monsters. I interviewed all of them. And
they were
I think
all the way.
I think I've said it before. I can't. If you've watched, and if you haven't, go back and watch our vlog. I know I'm shilling everything we've done this past October.
Look, that's what you do on live.
Yes.
Okay, this is what we do on live.
But yeah, go back and listen to it because it was a fun episode. I'd do it again. I'd go back and do another one, same place, just have a good time. Maybe do something a little different with the vlog if we go back to one of their media nights again, and just the overall experience. And it's funny because I think the first time I went, we went through more of the haunt this year than 2 years ago when I went, because I don't think I went the year before. I went the year, I think 2021 is when I went. I think I don't remember the exact timeline. But yeah, it's always a good time. And if you're in New York, and I said it in the video, if you're in New York, Long Island area, Nassau County, I believe it's Nassau, right? Or Suffolk, I forget. It's the borderline there. Check out Chambers of Hell. Good people running it. Had a good time. It's like a party. I have to go back to one of their other events because they're always putting out different kind of screenings and like screening events, haunt events. There's a goth event. There's clubs,
goth
parties.
On Fridays, I think. It's Friday
so
goth night now.
Definitely got to make my way out there and put my platform and my fishnets on. I don't think anyone wants to see that.
You have platforms?
No, I do not have platforms. Imagine
you need to be taller.
Yes, imagine that. Imagine I just pulled them up into frame. They're right here. I was ready. They're right here. Here they are, my platforms. But yes, Chambers of Hell, gotta show them some love again in 2024.
Yep.
All right. Here we're up to the. Real quick.
Chat.
Let's see the chat before we go to the main. Now we're talking movies. This is the movie segment of the live episode. So Lauren says, so I think Manny is right. It's Beetlegeist, but he spells it Beetlejuice as a loophole.
Yeah. I mean it the other way around, but yes.
Yes. Because
his name is Beetlejuice, but Beetlegeist is the workaround.
Yes. And the Beetlegeist is spelled after the star. I'm guessing there's an actor. Do you know that? Are you familiar?
No. The star, Beetlejuice.
The star.
Star in the sky.
I don't know my stars, obviously. Here. So there you go. But yeah, I never even thought about that. I'm glad we had that discussion and it was cleared up to us that yes, he's trying to win one, trying to get one over us.
Trying to get one over on us.
Yeah, trying to get one over on us. All right.
Now we need to know how Rumpelstiltskin misspells his name. It's a long, specific name. I don't know how you misspell that.
That damn Rumpelstiltskin. It's it's pronounced the same way either way. Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, regardless, it's still it doesn't even matter which way it's spelled.
Yeah,
and
but
yes,
I think that is totally the loophole though, because he spells it differently. You can use it, but Alec Baldwin, Beetlegeist. He keeps saying that because he's reading it incorrectly.
Beetlejuice is the best. I love that movie. All right. Speaking of movies, we're going back to some disappointments. For the 2023
sadness,
the year that is 2023 in the world of cinema, and we're sort of the next few minutes will be all movies. So what we'll do is this. We'll start with you because we've been kind of going back and forth per subject, I guess. We'll start with you. One or
Mhm.
two choices. We'll be here for 5 hours, so we're not going to go that in depth with each film.
Move along.
Maybe a little tidbit here and there. Spoiler warning. If you hear the movie and have not seen it, we apologize in advance, because maybe that we talk about a movie. Some of these movies came out in the later part of 2023, so maybe you haven't seen it yet.
We'll try
we'll
to
do our
avoid
best.
some level.
Yes,
but
we'll do our best
no,
to avoid.
no guarantees.
We'll do our especially when it's something we didn't like. We're like,
Oh.
spoil the whole damn. You don't need to watch this movie. We'll tell you what happens. But yes, most disappointing horror film or films. I've got two. I don't know how many you have.
I'm going to stick with two.
All right, we'll stick
I'll
with two.
stick with two. I have a couple others.
2023.
And I said to you beforehand, I had a couple others, but I don't like shitting on full on indie films, because I'm an indie filmmaker. I know how hard it is to make a movie. I know
Both
you,
of us.
you too. We both
should know.
We've made 3-4 feature films together.
Yes.
We know how hard it is, so I don't want to mention any. There's a couple that I was really looking forward to, and just, they were crap. I unfortunately, but I'm not going to say it, because you know what? I give him credit for making it. And that's all there is to it.
Making a movie is, I don't like to shit on any movie. I'll give, even when I don't like a movie, I tend to not talk about it. I don't go on Twitter and go, this movie sucked.
No.
But
positivity, stick positivity.
Not my cup of tea, and then I keep it moving. That's basically it. Or maybe, and I always try to find some redeeming quality in anything I watch. I guess because of the filmmaker in me, is like, all right, they tried with that. Whether it's a micro budget film, kind of where we are, which we've seen a lot of that. You probably watch a little bit more of that than I do, because of something else you do when it comes to film festivals. Which we won't get into right now, but you watch a lot of micro budget indie films and short films and people on our level. Then there's indie films that the budget was like $1 million, which is indie, but they had marketing behind them. They had a lot. So it's like a higher budgeted indie film. So those I don't feel as guilty saying I wasn't a huge fan of. And one of mine is in that ballpark, but it got a big push this year. And I didn't hate it, but I was a little disappointed. But we're going to start with you, Manny. Two of your most disappointing films for 2023, horror films for 2023.
First one is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Didn't see it. Had no interest.
Yeah. I thought it would be really cool. I thought it could be, it's a cool idea. I like the idea of, you know what? In the opposite, I hate this copyright law. I think that Disney dragged it on for too long, and they're getting theirs now this year because of Mickey.
Well, Steamboat Willie, that Mickey, right, is public domain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's public, but not like the real Mickey Mouse, I guess. I don't think he's public domain,
it's
right?
Steamboat with just Steamboat Willie. I feel like, personally, I feel like copyright law inhibits a lot of things, because sometimes you can have a great character. So let's put it this way. If copyright law was more extended than it was, you'd have one Dracula movie, you'd have one Frankenstein movie, you'd have 0 HP Lovecraft movies, 0. Like, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for film, if it wasn't for stories falling into public domain. Every single film that had anything to do with HP Lovecraft would have to get permission from the estate. Now,
there would be a lot less HP Lovecraft movies if it wasn't for that. So
I don't think there'd be any.
Probably
not. The first HP Lovecraft directly inspired films were not until the 80s. Imagine, and that's all of a sudden, HP Lovecraft blew up in popularity as a result of that. I was talking about this with somebody else about how copyright law actually kind of falls things into obscurity, because we were talking about Wizard of Oz. Now that I think about it, because there's another Wizard of Oz coming, and there's always a musical, and there's another adaptation here. Every 20 years or so, you get a resurgence of Wizard of Oz, and I feel like the copyright laws as they are right now really inhibit that. So I was really looking forward to the fact that Winnie the Pooh was finally falling into public domain, and people can use it to do something more than what it was just written as. People can get creative with it, and I really like that idea. Unfortunately, the movie was garbage. It had really nice gore. It was shot really well, and even the costumes look pretty cool. But there's no story. There's nothing. It has a preamble in the beginning where Christopher Robin basically grew up, and Pooh and Piglet were left, and they hate him for leaving him.
Oh,
They hate
God.
him for leaving them.
This sounds ridiculous.
There was something else. There was something else. Well, Eeyore was killed. Eeyore
Okay.
dies. Eeyore starves to death as a result of something. I don't remember exactly what it was. And they blame Christopher Robin for it because
Okay.
he left. Okay?
Okay.
So now they want revenge on him. In the course of revenge on him, they torture a bunch of people who happen to be in a cabin.
What?
They're just killing anyone that comes in.
Well, I think it's just an excuse to use these characters and make a slasher movie.
Fun.
That's all it is. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
It was basically like Hostel with Winnie the Pooh. Like they're just torturing these girls who were on vacation.
They're making a sequel too, right?
They are. Well, that's because Tigger just fell into public domain this year. So now they can add Tigger to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know if Eeyore is in public domain yet, which might be why he wasn't in there.
Steamboat Willie's getting his own slasher movie.
2 slashers
and
a
video game. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
And they can't call him Mickey Mouse. They have to call him Steamboat or Willie or something,
which is
right?
crazy because one of the movies is like Mickey's Steamboat or something like that.
Yeah, weird. You're going to see a lot of that happening over the next 30, 40 years, I have a feeling. Just music too. It happens, man. I haven't seen it.
I'm fine with it, but I was disappointed.
I had no interest. It looked pretty rough.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll be very honest. Probably will never watch it. I'll be very
like I said, it looked good. The effects were good. Like it had a good production value.
Yeah.
There just wasn't much to the story, and that really disappointed me. And I'm like, I don't know what the point of this was. It was a 90-minute movie. I think it was actually longer than now that I think about it. It might have been like an hour 45 or something. It was a long movie, and I'm like, nothing happens. I'm just watching him kill people. Like the joke is over. Let's move on and do something.
Probably would have worked better as a short film.
Absolutely. And it even ends with a cliffhanger. So I knew they were going to do the next, like they finally get Christopher. I'm going to fucking spoil it because, like I said, don't even bother.
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, Christopher Robin comes back and they've got him tied up and he sacrifices himself to save one of the other girls. And, it's okay. I'll stay here with you. It's for, you can do whatever you want to me. Just let her go. And Pooh says no. And he kills the girl anyway. Christopher Robin gets away and the movie's over. It ends with literally no resolution. Pooh and Piglet are still there, and Christopher Robin just runs, and that's pretty much the end of the movie.
They probably want to follow up that storyline in the next movie, so that makes sense.
100%. But that's not how you end a movie. You don't end a movie saying, "Oh, don't worry, there'll be more." This isn't a TV series. The movie has to stand on its own, and it doesn't.
I think, and I'll be honest, and I don't want to stay on the Pooh Bear horror stuff too long. I just think they knew marketing the movie would be easy. 100%. It's a Winnie the Pooh slasher movie.
Totally.
Who doesn't want to see cute little characters running around stabbing and chopping?
They're not even cute. They're not even fucking cute.
There you go. So
they're big and ugly.
Not my cup of tea. I just didn't really want to watch it. What's your second one?
My second one is along the lines of I don't want to shit on indie horror, so I'm going to talk about a big horror.
Okay.
Scream 6.
Okay.
Scream 6. I heard good things about it. They got a whole new cast in it. We're basically restarting the whole thing. I know that a lot of the people were from Scream 5, but we've even changed. We're in New York now.
Yeah.
Changed location. We've changed everything about it. It's still a complete fucking waste of space. I will say, the subway scene, I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yeah, we actually covered it on the channel as well. Chris and I covered it on the channel earlier this year.
Subway.
Or earlier last year.
The scene of her in the train is probably the best scene of any Scream movie. it is so well shot.
I'd agree.
It is incredible. Like that right there was perfect.
I like both subway scenes where I think it's all the same scene. I've only seen the movie once, so I have not revisited.
Where she's standing there and she's looking, and there's all the other people dressed, and it is absolutely perfect. It is one of the best crafted horror scenes, like in a slasher, in God, and easily one of the best of the entire series. Perfect.
I can agree with. I agree with you. It's probably the best scene in the movie. I'd say. I'm trying to think. I think the scene where they have the ladder in between two buildings could have been tense, but you knew who was gonna die when you watched it. You're like that the girl's girlfriend's gonna die.
That's her chance to go.
She's not one of the main characters. This is where she died. Like you kind of could see.
She's not core 4.
Yeah, you could see that coming. Yeah, I get it.
I felt like Hayden Panettiere was just kind of shoehorned in. That was obviously supposed to be Nev Campbell's role.
Okay.
Clearly that was supposed to be Nev Campbell. Yeah. But since they couldn't get her, let's get somebody else from another one of the movies and just randomly shove them in there.
And then they killed Dewey off in the previous movie, so they didn't have him.
It was a good death. That was a good death.
It was a good scene too.
But yes, that could have been Dewey in this movie as well. If they hadn't killed him off, they totally could have had him there where he decides to go. I'm
sure they're regretting killing him off now, the way things are going with that new movie.
A year later, he could have joined the FBI and become a profiler after leaving the police department. He's clean. Yeah. Totally. The ending is a complete mess. The museum and all.
Rewatch it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
The mother, the father, the sister, and the brother, they're all, Jesus.
I can tell you the real quick, I don't want to get into it. I did a whole episode with Chris, so I don't want to talk about it too much. I enjoyed most of it. I watched the movies the way I'd watch a really crappy Friday the 13th, like one of not my favorite Friday the 13th movies. Yeah. I watch it like that. The movies always look good. They're okay acted. They're what a Scream movie has become. Yeah. And that's just the way I see it. They're like, people always fight, what's the best sequel? What's this? To me, all the sequels are kind of the same. I think my least favorite one's probably the fourth one. And I don't know. I don't go into the movies with a critical eye. I just kind of watch them and I'm just like, all right, it's a Scream movie.
I've never been a big fan of Scream to begin with.
I never took you as a Scream guy. I don't think I've ever, the years I've known you, I don't think you've ever been like, Scream, hurrah. Like, yeah, I can't wait. So
you know what? I actually only saw, I'd only seen the first two, 3, 4, and 5. Part 3 and 4, part 3, I had watched 2022 for the first time ever. And then I watched part 4 because I knew that 5 was coming out. So we tried to catch up.
I'll never forget when part 5 came out. I sat down, watched part 4, and I hadn't seen part 4 in like 9 years or something. Like since almost when it came out. I forget. I try to forget. It's my least favorite
Timothy Oliphant is part 3, right?
2. He's part 2. I like part 2. Yeah, he's part 2. But part 4 is the one with. It's the one where the opening is all the fake out opening, like it's another movie. It's another movie. It's something like that. Anna Paquin's in it.
It's a movie. And I said to myself, this is. I'm not even an Anna Paquin fan, but this is the worst thing she's ever done in her entire life. That might have been the point, but probably. It was still.
Yeah,
it was Anna Paquin, and who else was? Who's the I don't.
Kristen Bell, I think is the
Kristen Bell. I said this is the worst thing they have ever done in their entire lives. That was they
probably
sleep with more talent than that scene.
That was probably my least favorite of all of them, and they're all the same to me. I enjoy I enjoy parts of all of them, but none of them will ever be as good as the first one. So, and I know that going into it, they're never. No movie will ever be as good as that. I think that's pretty. Everyone can agree, I think, with that one. Maybe some people don't. It's all subjective, honestly, too, at the end of the day. But regardless. I kind of treat them all the same. I didn't hate it. If I had a top 10, I don't think it would be in my top 10 of 2023. We're not doing top 10s. We're doing top 5s when we get to them. But yeah, I could see. It was not.
I gave it 2.5 stars on my.
And I
Letterboxd.
could see that. I respect that.
Yeah.
I think it earned that on your end, especially the way kind of you watch movies and stuff. All right,
Yeah,
before I get into mine, Lauren said you guys hear the rumors of the horror Scooby-Doo movie. I did not. That's new to me too. Is Scooby-Doo in public domain? No, there's no way.
No,
there's no way.
From the 70s. So.
Maybe it's an official, like they license the characters and they are allowed to use them in a horror. That'd be kind of cool. Scooby-Doo, if it's live action, that'd be awesome. Who knows? I would have to do some research on that.
I'm Googling Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo. That's 2022. No, I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan either.
Well,
so
it's rumors, so maybe that's just something that people are talking about. Maybe it hasn't been officially announced. Or
2022, I will be releasing a Scooby-Doo fan film, Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the Crimson Shade. Is that one? Celebrate the 55th anniversary. That's I found that post.
Rumors of a horror Scooby-Doo movie. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that actually sounds like a cool idea. So. Who knows?
Scooby-Doo featuring the Hex Girls was canceled.
I don't know what that is, but okay. I wouldn't call myself I like Scooby-Doo, but I wouldn't call myself a Scooby-Doo aficionado. So
the goth band in the show. There's a female goth band, the Hex Girls.
I don't remember.
Part of the Scooby-Doo world.
It rings a bell, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
again, I don't know.
You're more Scooby-Doo than I am.
I'm not. I'm more Scooby-Doo than you are, and I don't even know that much about Scooby-Doo. Yeah. All right. Most disappointing, and I don't want to get too much into this either. I feel like we'll be here all night. So mine might be controversial. I don't know. Maybe there's people that really enjoyed these movies. I know one of them.
Controverse, sir. Go controverse.
I think one of them, it's kind of split down the middle. So the first one, I think I'd say 75-25. I think most people will agree was a big disappointment. The Exorcist Believer. Whoa. That's all I'll say. What was that?
90 minutes for one scene.
What was that? That was scene. All I'll say, and I'm not going to get, again, I don't want to crap on it, but I walked in excited, and literally, I left. First thing I said, that was disappointing. That was literally I remember that being my first words, like, wow, that was disappointing. I get what they were trying to do, but that ain't going to work with the Exorcist franchise. That could probably work with Halloween. Can't do it with
it. Work with Halloween. It worked with Halloween.
It worked with Halloween because Halloween's a slasher movie, and I feel like you can go that legacy route. I feel doing it with The Exorcist feels shoehorned in, and that's exactly what it felt like.
That final scene made the whole movie. That's it. That's all I wanted to see. Just that final 30 seconds. I waited 2 hours for that.
And I'm not going to say what it is in case people haven't seen it, but yeah, it was a cool concept.
That's all I wanted to see. 2
girls and other stuff cool. I don't want to get into because maybe someone hasn't seen it, but yeah,
it's very new.
It was just, I was just like, wow, what a bummer.
I thought
Ellen Bernstein,
was really good.
The way they used her was a little it felt like, okay, here's a check.
It started well, and then the first hour was good, and then it just slowly got worse. It just slowly fell.
Yes.
Not worse. It fell apart.
Yeah.
It just fell apart as it went on. Like, I'm sitting in the theater wondering, I'm like, what is everybody talking about? This is actually really good. And then it just took a turn.
Then you went,
and it's just hear it. I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I think I fell asleep at one point. For a couple of minutes, I just dozed off. This is boring.
You woke up and you were like, wait, when did the girls show back up? What happened?
I woke up and the 2 of them were tied to the chairs together. I'm like, oh. All right, we're doing this. Great.
I could see it being a snooze fest. And speaking of snooze fest, my second disappointing movie of 2023, Skinamarink. That's probably the one I think some people loved it, some people hated it.
Skinamarink is on my list of one of those indie movies that I don't want to knock. That's me personally, because I know that it was just somebody who just made a movie in their house.
And I'll say this. I'm going to say this. I will not crap on it. 2 reasons. Mm-hmm. Number 1, it's an experimental film.
Yeah.
So it's 100%. Not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Yeah. It's literally the definition of an experimental film.
It is.
Is Skinamarink.
It is.
The second thing I will give them, and why I don't want to crap on it too much, it is an eerie movie. If you watch this, and that's what they said, and that's what I did my first time. Well, I tried to watch this movie twice. First time, watched it by myself here in the dark with headphones. I did that. I fell asleep 30 minutes into the movie. It was like 10 p.m. Tried it again on the couch.
Yeah.
I got about 3/4 of the way. Fell asleep. I gave up on the movie. I have not tried. Yeah. I didn't find it scary. I thought it was eerie at first, but what happens is 20 minutes into the movie, you become desensitized because it's the same thing over and over again. You're like, oh, wow, this is creepy. Is something going to jump out? Is something going to pop up in the background in the distance? Are we going to get... And it does it. Yeah. It does it. But after a certain point, you just are like, okay, that's me. I'm not... And I also think this, and this is me crapping on myself, maybe I am not pretentious enough for that type of movie. I'll be very... And I don't mean that as a slight on anyone that liked it. I just don't think the way I watch a movie, the kind of movies I like, Skinamarink is not it. And that, dude, there's other movies, and we've talked about Terrifier. There's just something about it. There's a disconnect between me and the movie. As a filmmaker, I'm not going to say I've worked on with you or with my own stuff, make the greatest type of movie, the greatest films of all time. But, and people can be critical of our stuff and stuff I've worked on, stuff you've worked on, stuff we worked on together. But this is not for me. When I watch a movie, Skinamarink was not it. That's my spiel. I don't want to get too, I don't want to crap on it too much because you're right. The guy made it for $15,000.
Yeah.
I respect what it stands for. I respect what he did as an independent filmmaker and the kind of nationwide phenomena it was last year. And everyone kind of, oh, have you watched that movie Skinamarink? Oh, man. Everyone talked about it. So I think that's probably one of the best things about it is just the word of mouth and what he was able to achieve with them. I don't even know the director's name. I haven't done a lot of research because
I can't remember his name.
I don't, I'll give you, I give him credit
in two ways, but
okay.
When I first heard about it, I was talking to Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Mario likes movies. I used to do the podcast with him. Mm-hmm. So every so often, me and him, he'll send me, you got to check this movie out. We still talk movies fairly regularly. Mm-hmm. He absolutely loved it. He saw it at a film festival.
Okay.
He absolutely loved it. I think, like what you said, you said, maybe I'm not pretentious enough, not in a shitty way, just maybe I'm not this, whatever. I think that Skinamarink was made for a very specific audience, as most films are. Mm-hmm. But I think the specific audience of Skinamarink is Mario, people like him, somebody like Mario. He sits on YouTube at night in his little empty apartment by himself.
Man.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm setting the scene. He's in his apartment by himself and he's flipping through YouTube 2:00 in the morning because he's probably been sitting there editing or whatever he's been doing since 4 PM.
Yeah. Next
thing you know, it's 2:00 in the morning. The sun has set. He hasn't turned on a single light in his apartment because when he sat down, all the lights, everything was, you've done it. I've done it. And in order to relax at the end of the night, he starts clicking through YouTube and he goes through, creepy YouTube videos and he goes through ghost videos, those types of videos where you sit for 6 minutes watching like a camera and you wait for a chair to do that.
Yeah.
You watch enough of them and you start to just get creeped out by just the sounds in your house because every little thing, because all those videos are all about this innocuous thing suddenly moving, and sitting staring at what was it? We all go to the World's Fair.
Yeah.
Was very similar. Was exactly that. It's just a girl who watches YouTube at night and goes through these videos and she freaks herself out because she's watching these freaky videos. And I think Skinamarink was kind of that type of film where you're just watching something and you're letting the atmosphere draw you in.
Yeah, that's
Now,
why I watched it in the dark
yes,
alone with
yes,
headphones, and it
yes.
still.
I tried that and I still didn't
I
because
fell
I'm
asleep,
also,
like I said.
yeah, I'm also not one of those people. I'm one of those people. I go on YouTube and I see that video. It's like where you get, I look at the
Yeah,
timeline. I see that it's 7 minutes and I scrub through it looking for, on YouTube, when you pop it up, you can see the
yeah,
engagement. I go right to that.
yeah. Okay.
You know, I'm not going to sit for 6 minutes and wait for this, but there are a lot of people who do. Mario's one of those. He's going to sit and let it draw him in. And I think Skinamarink was made for people who did that. And maybe the director does that. He did that himself, and he wanted to make something that recreated that feeling of just staring at something and waiting for it to move. And the other thing I can speak to real quick is I'm actually on the same distributor as them. Bayview Entertainment released my film as well as Skinamarink. And I've talked to the guy who runs Bayview. He was just surprised as anybody else that that film did as big as it is.
It was the
It
marketing,
was
man. It was that
no,
trailer.
but
No.
he said, well, no, he said IFC Midnight took over a lot of that, but he's like, they bought it. They did not expect when they picked it up. I know the guy who actually picked it up from Siphuno Ventures, I think it was. And then Bayview acquired them. So they got the film and they took it. And they were like, okay, this could be a cool little thing. And then IFC showed interest and IFC did the whole thing. But when they picked it up, they did not expect it to be as big as it was. They just wanted to release a cool little indie film.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
it's all IFC Midnight that made that what it was. And he said that to me. He's like, IFC, they knew how to market it.
Hey, that's what sold.
So
That's what sold the movie.
yes,
It was that trailer, man. Then Shutter
yeah,
picking it up
so
and all that stuff.
yeah.
So I think,
But to speak to that, the
you know,
people who picked it up initially just said, this is a cool little indie film, somebody's going to enjoy it,
mhm.
let's put it out there. They were just doing it for the sake of people should see the film. And
Yeah.
IFC is the one that bombarded everybody with
Hey, man,
everything
it
else.
worked, and I commend them.
Yes.
Like, I give them a lot of credit. I'm sure that guy will make another movie. And listen, if he makes another movie, I am curious to see what the hell it is. Where do you go from there?
Yeah,
That's all I'll say. So
I found him on Facebook just because we're on the same distributor, so I can't remember his name right now, but
yeah,
I am connected to the guy.
no worries. There's some
I can't think of his
some
name
connection there between Manny and the Skinamarink director. All right, because we'll be here all night.
right now. Yeah.
24-hour stream. Close Calls.
Mhm.
You'll start this one. I got two
Okay.
movies. Close Calls. Movies that would have been in your top 5, but just didn't make the cut. Maybe they're in your top 10. What are they?
Um, First one, Wrath of Becky,
Another one I
which
have not seen.
great film. The only reason it's not like in my top 5 is because it's not a straight horror film.
Yeah, it's like a horror comedy,
It's
right?
it's a comedy, a
Yeah.
little bit of an action film,
Okay.
kind of, it's a little more the first Becky is about a little girl who like she's 13 years old and she's on kind of like she's out with her family in this little, I think they rent a house for the weekend, and the Nazi Kevin James shows up. Yes. Of
Oh,
all people.
I heard
Yeah.
about this movie now. Now it
Yes.
rings a bell. Yeah, yeah.
Kevin James plays an escaped prisoner along with Kurgan from Oddities, the wrestler Kurgan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Him and two other actors. I think at least one you would recognize. I can't think of their names, but they're part of their Nazi crew. And there's something, this house that that the family is renting. He has something hidden in the basement and he wants to get to it. Okay. Um, Becky already found it.
Mm.
Becky already found it and she's hiding it from him. Essentially what Becky is, the film itself, Becky is the birth of a psychopath, but it's female psychopath. So she's an American psycho. At some point, she realizes she enjoys hurting people,
Okay.
and these Nazis who are torturing her family and they kill one of her dogs and everything, she's going to kill him. That's it. That's it. You fucked up. I'm coming for you. This 13-year-old girl is going to take on a group of Nazis.
Sounds like an
Yeah.
interesting premise. I gotta watch
It
it.
is it is excellent. It
Yeah.
is the first one is amazing. The second one is almost as good, but it is more in the kind of over the top realm. It's a
Mm.
less of a horror tense thriller and more of that comedy. It definitely gets a little
Yeah.
bit more tongue in cheek. So anyway, so part two is Wrath of Becky, just came out. It is a couple of years later. Becky's kind of gone from one foster family to another, and she comes across a group of essentially Proud Boys. They're
Okay.
called noblemen in this. Oh, what's his name? Oh, fucking Malachi.
From Children
From
of
the
the Corn.
Burbs. From
From
the
I
Burbs.
forget his name. Courtney
Courtney
something.
Gaines.
There you go. Yeah,
Courtney
yeah,
Gaines is
yeah.
in it. Um, and Stifler.
Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott is in it.
Oh, really? Wow. I
Yes.
gotta check that out.
He's the leader of the noblemen.
Okay.
And she comes across them, and she's working in a waitress at
What
a
an
diner and a
interesting
waitress.
cast.
Yes, it is. It really is.
So
From
odd.
Kevin James and Kurgan to Sean William Scott and Courtney Gaines.
It's so random. Wow.
I know.
Interesting.
So she's working as a restaurant, and they're harassing her because they're just a bunch of dickheads. They're harassing her, and she embarrasses one of them, and they show up at her house later that night to come after her. And they end up killing the old woman that she lives with and stealing her dog.
Okay.
So she wakes up in the morning and they're going to get it. you know, the difference is that this one now in part two, she narrates the film too. So it adds that extra bit of comedy to it. Like, well, they just fucked up,
Yeah.
Like I enjoy doing that. Like, you hear that you didn't get that in the first movie. The first movie was a lot more straight. So that's the reason why I didn't make it to my tops. I think in my top of like 40 or so, this is like my number 12.
Oh, so it's up there, but not
It's still
top
up there.
10. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And it's mostly because it's not as tense thriller as the first one. It definitely goes more into the comedy, a little slapsticky.
Well,
Some of the deaths are just
you got Stifler
hilarious.
in it, so I'm sure
Yes.
it's
He is great. No, he just like Kevin James as
it's
a
more of a
Nazi,
serious role.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I gotta watch
Courtney
these
Gaines
movies.
who's hilarious.
Oh wow. I gotta watch these movies. I'm
Yes.
so like behind on them.
Yeah. And number 2 is The Devil Comes at Night.
Another one have not seen.
Yeah,
all your like either disappointing or close call picks. I have not seen any of these movies. I slacked this year with certain movies. So,
well, Devil Comes at Night was super low budget. It's single location. It's a really, really strong story. Performances are hit or miss at times. Really damn good story, but the reason why, again, it's one of those where budget could have done a little bit more with it. I liked how they worked with the budget. The Devil Comes at Night is these people in a house. They're looking for the guy's trying to get something that was his father's. What's his name? Jason Martorino, right? That's the actor. Anyway, it was his father died. He's in his father's house and he's trying to get the safe that was his father's safe. And he has some stuff in there for him. And the town is quite racist.
Okay.
And they're coming for him. You find out that he was in a bar fight with somebody. And now the guys who he was in a bar fight with are coming at him at the house. And there's just people in the woods around coming after him.
That's an interesting premise.
Yes.
That sounds promising.
Yeah. So he's the black guy in a white town around him, and they're coming at the house. But there's more to it because the movie is called The Devil Comes at Night.
I'm sure there's some supernatural stuff at play. Don't spoil it because I do kind of want to see it.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to spoil it because this is a really cool film, especially once you get toward the end and it just keeps twisting.
Okay.
So that's the premise. Guy's trying to get something that was his father's. His father was an activist in the 70s. And, so kind of like the town already doesn't like him being there because he was already fighting for black civil rights in the first place. Oh. And this kind of racist town wasn't happy with him in the first place. But the whole movie takes place in the house. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Sounds almost like a Siege movie, which I'm a big fan of.
It is. No, it's very, very much so.
I gotta watch this.
It's on Tubi, and again, low budget. So like they cut the power to the house. So they They even work that in like
It's
budget.
almost like straw
You don't have to light
dogs.
everything.
It's kind of like that straw dog. From what you're telling me, I'm assuming there's a twist somewhere, but like the
There's a couple of
house,
them.
towns,
Yes.
people, like it sounds very much like a straw dogs
Yep.
meets
Yes.
something else supernatural. I'm assuming. So
Yes.
I gotta watch
think
that
you'd
one.
like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said it's on Amazon Prime and it's on Tubi, so you can watch it there.
All right.
Very, very cool indie film that like if it had a bigger budget, this would be an A24 theaters
wow.
film.
All right.
Yeah.
Gotta check it out. All
Yes.
right. So my two close call films that honestly these two probably would be in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would put them low in the pecking order, sort of. The first one, and both of them, funny enough, and it doesn't show you that I love everything that has Halloween in it. Both of them are technically Halloween films.
Okay.
And I thought there were there were other movies that came out this year that were much better. First one is Kids versus Aliens. Hey, you didn't. There you go. You didn't see it. I think my close call move picks. I don't think you've seen either one. Kids versus Aliens.
I remember when it popped up on Shudder and you said you watched it, you liked it, and Andrea hated it.
Yeah.
And I looked at the poster, me and Lynn. I said, you know what? I think I agree with Andrea, and I think she's going to agree with you.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it.
She didn't like it. When we sat, she was like, this is stupid, and gave up
I
halfway
feel
through.
the same way. Like, I'm not going to like it, but Lynn's going to like it.
So it's the same guy that directed Hobo with a Shotgun, which I also really enjoy.
Didn't care for that much.
You know, sort of campy in the realm of campy, grindhousey type film. You know, I've said it on the show before, I'm not a trauma guy, but for some reason I like Hobo with a Shotgun, and it has kind of some trauma-esque attributes, I'd say. But Kids versus Aliens, basically, you would think I would like best movie of 2023 just because of the premise. It's on Halloween. You've got these kids who are into wrestling and into shooting videos of their wrestling matches and things like that. And then these aliens come down, and it's, you know, there's a Halloween party, and the kids literally have to defend themselves against the aliens. And I'm not gonna go too into it, but it's a very bright movie. It almost feels like literally the final act. It almost looks like Masters of the Universe in a way.
Okay.
There's lava and like slime and thing. And I'm pretty sure that was an influence on the director, like old, you know, 80s. I guess
Master
like
Universe is cool.
Master Universe,
The
real
movie or the
Ghostbusters. I'm talking the show and the movie. I'm talking to all He-Man and Master Universe in general. And the movie, has it's like a heavy kind of synth wave soundtrack, high energy. It's a short film. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. Moves quick. But I feel when I watched it, I want a little bit more. And I know I'm not really getting into the plot because I don't really, again, there's probably a lot of people that haven't seen it yet. And I'd recommend people watch it because, again, I didn't hate this movie. I enjoyed it, but it wouldn't be my top favorite of 2023. I think this would be maybe number 10 on my list. It'd be I'd put it solid 10. It fizzles out towards the end. They also, similar to what you mentioned earlier with another movie, they kind of do sequel bait at the very end. It doesn't have a real ending.
All right.
It sort of just ends. But I get what they were going for, and I dig kind of the 80s action figures come to life feels that it gives. And I thought the kids were really good. They're a little annoying at times, the cursing and stuff. It's a little forceful, but they're likable enough. And they kind of do some dark stuff with the kids you wouldn't expect. You know, you're thinking Stranger Things and things like that. They kind of go there's some like, oh man, that's kind of messed up because these are children technically. And I did enjoy it. But again, it felt like it was missing something. I can't quite put my finger on it. For me at least, whenever I watch a movie that I'm not like enamored with, I can't pinpoint what it's missing. I think with this one, it was just abrupt, and I think that's what it is. And I feel that way about my second pick. Just doesn't feel like a whole story. It feels like part of a story. And to me, Kids versus Aliens feels like that type of movie. It's weird. You know, it's weird. It's just I can't even articulate what it's missing. I feel like Hobo with a Shotgun feels complete. Kids versus Aliens, same filmmaker, does not feel complete. And you could tell.
Comparing it to Hobo with a Shotgun doesn't sell. I felt like Hobo with a Shotgun felt like it never became a real movie. It just kept up. It stayed a gimmick the whole time. It never became a real movie. I felt the same way about Machete.
Yeah, like, if you don't like that, and I love Machete. I thought Machete was great.
I love them as like the short concept trailer of it, but like as a long movie, I was like, I'm tired of this already. Can it become a real movie at some point?
I respect that.
Not drop the gimmick, but like make the gimmick work for it and go beyond just being a gimmick.
Definitely a gimmicky movie, just kind of the way, Machete definitely is gimmicky. Hobo with a Shotgun and Kids versus Alien. It's got its gimmicks, I guess is what you want to use, especially the whole kids on bikes. I'm surprised
Thanksgiving was not a gimmick.
It was a real movie. I can agree with that.
Death Proof became a real movie at some point,
for sure.
Planet Terror. That's what I'm trying to say.
For sure. I get that. But Kids versus Aliens, my first close call. I did enjoy it. I've actually watched it twice. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it enough to revisit it. And like I said, it probably would be in my top 10, probably number 10.
I think Lynn will want to watch it soon, and I'll probably end up watching it at some point. Yeah.
If you're a kid that likes,
it's a 2023 movie. I honestly felt like it was older than that.
I think it premiered at the end of 2022 at a film festival, and then it didn't go up on Shudder for everyone until January. It's literally a year ago, January of 2023. So
that's why it feels so long ago. Then
early in the year, it's on Shudder now. You can watch it there. Really colorful. It's like an 80s movie like an 80s cartoon come to life. That's what it reminds me of. My second pick in close calls, I guess plural because there's more than one, is Dark Harvest. Another Halloween set film. Another Halloween. It's a Halloween set film based on a novel. It's almost like The Lottery set on Halloween with a monster.
That sells me right there.
Yes. I think you'll like Dark Harvest. Yeah. I think you'll like Dark Harvest more than Kids versus Aliens.
I love The Lottery. It's one of my favorite stories.
Same
I love
here.
Every adaptation of it. I love it.
It's great. You got
even the bad ones. I love them.
Yeah. It's just a timeless story that can work in any kind of way. But you got this town on every Halloween. This creature shows up, and the boys in the town have to defeat, and they starve these kids. They have to. They starve them, I think, for 3 days. They have to go out. They're selected to go out and defeat and kill this creature. And this creature looks like Pumpkinhead and Sam from Trick or Treat if they had a baby. There's some twists and turns, and this certain year you get one character that you wouldn't expect to take part in defeating of this character. But similar to Kids...
Sawtooth Jack.
Yeah, Sawtooth Jack. There you go. That's the name of the... I didn't write that down in my notes. But that's the creature. I just
Googled it. You said what it looked like. I'm like, well, I want to see what it looks like. Yeah. You're right. It is.
It's like Pumpkinhead and Sam from Trick or Treat combined.
100%.
They stuff this creature with candy.
Cool looking creature.
Yeah, they stuff him with candy. They send him out there. He goes on a massacre, and they have to kill him, defeat him, eat what's in him, and they award them with a Ferrari and money. That's kind of the town's ritual every year.
Wow. I think I'm just looking at pictures.
I think you're gonna like this movie a lot. I liked it too. This would probably be number 9, number 8. It almost made it to my top 5, but the ending is what it didn't feel like a complete story, and that was my gripe with it. Similar to Kids versus Aliens. It was like another 5 or so minutes, or just end the film. Just end it.
Yeah.
End the movie. There's like a post-credit scene and I'm familiar with the original novel. I have the audio book, and I think I own a physical copy of it. I've never read it, but I've listened to parts of the book, and it's a lot. The book is dense, and they're trying to cram a lot into 90 minutes. Like most novel to movie adaptations, that's probably the issue, is that it's missing stuff. It's set in the 50s, so it's a period piece, which I think they did a fantastic job with. It's got great Halloween atmosphere. Dude, there is literally scenes where there's like 500 lit jack-o'-lanterns just sitting in every corner. It's great. Nice. I think everything about the movie up until the ending is perfect. And it would have been probably number 2 or 3 if it just wasn't for that ending. Because there is another Halloween film that came out this year that is in my top 5, and I think did it better and did a better job telling a 90-minute story with a beginning, middle, and end. So that's Dark Harvest, my second close call with Kids versus Aliens. All right, let's get into top 5. I'm
go
just
back
gonna
and forth on this.
No,
5, 4, 4.
I think we'll just go through it because then we'll be here all night. We'll do top 5. You started the last one, so I'll start.
The last 2. It's all you, buddy.
Oh, so you started the last 2. I'm not keeping track. This is a live episode. So top 5. I'm gonna go through it. My top 5 films of 2023. And I'll give a little tidbit for each one. Nothing. I'm not gonna get into the plot and stuff because again, we'll be here fucking forever.
Yeah.
So, number 5. I just watched this a couple days ago, like a week ago or something like that, or a couple days ago. I don't even think it was a week ago. It was one I wanted to watch, but just didn't have time to squeeze it in with everything else going on. And that is No One Will Save You. And in a nutshell, there's this girl. She's got some post-traumatic situation that happened that's unraveled throughout the film. Aliens show up again. There's a little theme. There's a better Alien movie. See, a better movie that did the same thing. Greys, alien ships show up, and this girl has to basically defend herself in this town, in her own home, from these aliens, while also dealing with some issues she had as a kid and some stuff some traumatic
that she
stuff.
Doesn't say a word.
Yes, I was about to get to that point. She does not speak. There's not a she's got like one line in the whole movie. It's not even a line. It's her saying someone's name. I don't want to say why that happens, but it's quiet. There's no dialogue. Basically, it's like kind of like people talking to themselves, like not really conversations happening in the movie. I thought they did a great job just kind of with the script and telling this type of story. The film is an allegory for, I've read a couple of different things of the meaning. I don't want to, again, because it kind of spoils the ending. I've heard some stuff about millennials being what the film represents, kind of what millennials have dealt with, post-traumatic stress and trauma from the past and things, how it affects you later in life and kind of mixing that all in with aliens. There's different interpretations of the ending, which I liked. It was one of those movies that I watched, and when I really sat and thought about it, I was like, that was a fucking good movie. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, number 5, No One Will Save You. I highly recommend. Yeah. Did you like it?
I saw it. I hated the ending.
Okay.
Absolutely hated the ending to the point where it ruined the rest of the movie for me.
And I could see why people didn't like it.
Yeah.
But I think if you read about the movie a little more, you might appreciate it some more.
Yeah.
So it's one of those movies.
I will. But up until that point, the movie was incredible. Like this was like Quiet Place excellent.
Yes, I really, and she's great in it.
She's amazing.
It's the actress she's from Booksmart. She's not, what's his name's sister, not Beanie, not what's his name? Olivia Wilde directed it. She's the other female lead in that. But yeah, nonetheless, great movie. Really enjoyed it. Number 5. Number 4, which is a movie I think everyone loved, and it's probably in most people's top 5, Evil Dead Rise. There's not really much to get into with this one. It was a lot of fun. I think it fits in perfectly with the Evil Dead franchise, with the TV show. There's some comedy in it. It's a little darker, kind of more in line with the first remake. It almost feels like it could be a sequel in a way. We also reviewed that. Chris and I put up a review when it came out. I thought it was great. I revisited it. I think I watched it 2 more times. I put it on in the background. I thought the 2 female leads, the mother and the sister, she was great as like the big bad of the movie, as the possessed mom. And just it's gory, it's violent. I love some of the, again, with the children, they went a little edgier with some of the scenes, with them being kids. The female lead, she was great. Like, I just loved it. It it was a great companion piece to the rest of the franchise. It works with the films with Ash. It works with the remake with is it Mia's the name of the character, the lead in that movie. Works with her. And I love the was it 2013? I love the Evil Dead remake. I think it's great too. I just think fun movie. Not much to say about Evil Dead Rise. It's just a great, and it's an original really cool to trap people in an apartment building and have deadites just start like the book possess people. And you have to survive the night. I love that. The elevator scene with all the blood, fucking great. It's so good. A lot of fun. All right, number 3. I've seen a lot of people put this on their list. Another one I saw late in the year. I watched it twice. I actually watched it for the second time the other day. And I think this is one of the movies you have to go in. And I went into it not knowing too much. I did not see this in theaters. I wanted to. It's directed by David Cronenberg's son. I don't know his first name.
Brandon Cronenberg.
There you go. Infinity Pool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of, what's his name? Alexander Skarsgård. I think he's great. Underrated dude. He was great in 2022's The Northman. I love that was one of my favorite films in 2022. Love that movie. He's great in this. Mia Goth is great in everything she's in. I thought she was fantastic in this movie. I'm a big fan of 2 movies, and that's what this reminded me of. A messed up version of these 2 movies combined. I'm a huge fan of Eyes Wide Shut and a big fan of Multiplicity with not Kevin Bacon, with Michael Keaton. With Michael Keaton. So if you combined a body horror Cronenberg film.
Never would have made that connection.
Yes, if you take like Eyes Wide Shut and like Tom Cruise as a man and what he's going through that night, thinking his wife had an affair on him and he's going to go out, have a wild night and do all this nonsense, and then gets caught up in some shit that he's not supposed to, like an Eyes Wide Shut, and you mix that with some clones and just all this weird, like I said, body horror, Cronenberg-esque stuff. That's what Infinity Pool is. And I thought it was great, and it's a bleak movie. The ending is pretty bleak. Some of the stuff, there's that scene where, and I'm not going to spoil it too much. I don't think this spoils too much, but you got Mia Goth on the hood of a car. You've got Skarsgård in front of them. She's insulting him, saying that she never read his book, because that's kind of how she reels him in. His book, the reviews were terrible. It was a piece of crap. She is so horrid in that scene and terrible. And you feel so bad for him because this guy just wants to write his novels and get inspired, and his own kind of arrogance, kind of like Tom Cruise in Eyes Wide Shut, gets the better of him. You've got this, attractive woman who is kind of using that against him to again, once again, reel him in. And I just think it's kind of like a good allegory for kind of being an artist and also putting that ahead of your personal life, because he's got this great wife who's supportive and wealthy, and he doesn't even work, and he's kind of taking advantage of that. So I love that. I just loved what the movie represented, and I think the way they put it all together, this was honestly almost number 2 on my list.
Wow.
I was fighting with my number 2 film, which I'll get into now. I was fighting with it because I loved Infinity Pool. I've watched it 2 times.
I thought Possessor was way better, like way better. In my list, again, I think I watched maybe 50 or so horror films that came out this year. I watched a lot. Like I really tried to get through as many as possible. On my list, where is it? Infinity Pool is number 27.
Oh, so you've got it low.
but that is because I watched a lot that I really liked. Yeah. I watched a ton of movies.
I watched a lot of movies this year too, but I really enjoyed it. Again, I put it on the first time and I was like, wow, I want to watch that again. That was kind of twisted.
Yeah. Well, me too. I look for the lesser known movies. I look for those. I really seek them out. Like you said, Devil Comes at Night. Like you didn't even.
I gotta watch it. I've heard of it. I've heard of a lot of these movies. I haven't had a chance to watch them yet because I just I'm busy too. I gotta do this. I gotta do other stuff. So it's like not enough time in the day.
I've come to watching movies at work at night. When I go, I just leave my phone on and I just I go through movies at night a lot of the time. So
you can do that.
If I can do it, I do it. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Infinity Pool, number 3 on my list. I loved it. I actually want to watch it again soon because I really like.
I do want to give it a second watch.
I
didn't.
really
I
liked her. Like Mia Goth was great I thought she was great in the Suspiria remake. However you feel about that movie, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I enjoyed it.
A little too long, but really good.
It's different from. You got to separate it from the original Suspiria. It's quite different.
Yes.
I thought she was great in that. She's good in a lot of stuff I've seen her. She's great in X. She's amazing in Pearl, and I thought she was amazing in this. I think just as the
she was really good
as the antagonist of the movie, like literally the heel. She is the bad guy of this movie.
Yeah.
She was fantastic. I thought she was great, and he was great. You just felt so much sympathy for this guy, even though he brought it upon himself.
He did.
Okay, moving on to what I thought was the far superior Halloween themed film of 2023, and that's Cobweb. I thought, I mentioned Kids versus Aliens.
That is number 10. That is my number 10.
So that's on the top 10
top
for
10.
You.
Yes, it is in my top 10. 100%.
I thought when it came to a Halloween story with the holiday as the backdrop, it did it better than Dark Harvest, and it did it better than Kids versus Aliens, in my opinion. And those are the Halloween themed films that come to mind for last year.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of putting this one up against those. Lizzie Kaplan is awesome in everything she's in. I forget the guy's name. I always forget his name. He plays Homelander in The Boys.
Oh man, Homeland.
Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great as Tony. There you go. He's great as Homelander. He's great as a crappy father in Cobweb. He's like a strict, and she's great.
I'm starting to wonder if he's acting or not.
I don't know.
He's so
dude's
bad
awesome.
at being a scumbag.
He is great at being a piece of crap. Dude, the Halloween atmosphere, the story that they're telling about this little boy hearing something in the wall and his parents, have this secret. I'm not going to say the ending because I think the last act, fantastic.
Yeah, it's the same little boy from Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Yes, which
he's in that as well.
I've been wanting to watch, and I think I'm going to like it, and I have not watched it yet.
I think you will too.
I can't wait to see that. I
saw that in theaters.
I slacked and did not watch that, and you know what? I'm going to watch it this week, and that, might have to come back and redo this whole thing. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. Start over. I'm changing my top 5. But yeah, Cobweb, man, just the ending, the story, their backyards filled with pumpkins. I love the weird kind of universe this takes place in what world is this? It feels kind of set in another time period, but it's not.
It really does. I was wondering if it was a period piece from the very beginning. I'm like, what year is this?
Never outright do they say it is, but it's just it's just kind of crazy. The visual, I won't say what it comes from or what it is. The creature looks eerie looking and creepy and just
scary as shit.
Yes,
eerie.
It's just some of those shots like just
when you
creepy.
First see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gross too.
Yeah.
So I loved it, and again, it did Halloween. Like Halloween was not the focus of the film. It just takes place in October. And
coincidentally, yes.
Yeah, and the last act, it's Halloween. It's Halloween night. And the bullies showing up with the mask to the house. Like
that's right. I forgot about that.
You always have to have the scumbag, shitty Halloween kids in every movie. That's right.
I forgot about that. The invasion portion of the movie. Yeah, and the home invasion part.
It's a home invasion. I'm sure they regretted.
Which that's it. Sells it for you.
So like, so good. Almost my number 1. I honestly, it was kind of back and forth between my number 1 film and Cobweb, which I'll just say what my number 1 movie is. We're here. Godzilla -1. Now, technically, not a horror film, but it's a creature. It's Godzilla. He's a monster.
Yeah.
It's horror adjacent.
That was just below Wrath of Becky for me because it's really not technically a monster movie. It's a disaster movie more than anything else.
Exactly. He's a monster. It's Godzilla. I think, I love Godzilla. I grew up watching Godzilla movies. I even like the new Godzilla and Kong movies that are coming out. I think they're a lot of fun. They're dumb. They're silly. I rather watch those than the Avengers movies. In my opinion, I think they're more fun and they're dumb, and they're
Oh,
just
well,
as dumb. But I enjoy them.
I just saw Aquaman the other day. It was terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It
I'm
was
sure it
terrible.
sucked.
It was so
I'm
bad.
sure it was terrible.
Dude, another one. The second time in history I've ever gotten up in the middle of a movie to go to the bathroom or something because I just didn't
It
give a
was stupid. I'm
shit.
sure.
And the first one was Captain America.
I'm sure.
I did not care.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Didn't care what I.
But yeah,
Garbage.
dude, Godzilla -1, they made Godzilla scary again. They
did.
made you care about the human characters, which I feel the newer, MonsterVerse movies lack in.
I think the story is so solid. It's
you feel for them. You feel for the human family and a lot, and I feel like this is a movie a lot of people haven't seen yet. Because it's subtitled.
I don't know if you've ever heard the story that there was a guy. Which one was Nagasaki or Hiroshima? I don't remember which one was first.
Yeah, I think
there was a guy who was in Hiroshima and he survived the bomb, and he was evacuated to Nagasaki, and then he survived that bomb.
Wow.
And then when he came to on that plane that he was on coming to America was struck by lightning and he survived the plane crash.
Wow, really?
I feel like, then this is a totally true story. I feel like this movie is based kind of
that was the inspiration.
Cues. Yeah. Yes, I think that was the inspiration. And like I could tell it at first when it first happened. I'm like, oh, they're totally doing this guy's story,
Wow.
And that's the human element of it.
I didn't even
this is
I didn't even know about that story. I have to look into it. Yeah, man. I again, Godzilla -1. You see the influence of Jaws in it. You see, obviously, the original Godzilla, associating him with Hiroshima, the atomic bomb, and all that stuff. The family dynamic, how they're kind of forced into being a family, and this guy doesn't want a family. He doesn't want this to be his life, but he falls in love with these people. I love that, and
great story.
There's those scenes when they're they're having those meetings of how we're going to destroy Godzilla. And, most Godzilla movies, you're rooting for Godzilla. And don't get me wrong, a little part of me, I was still rooting for Godzilla because it's Godzilla. And you know what?
Clearly the bad guy this time.
Yes. And for people like me who love the character, the little ending stinger, oh yeah. Like, I don't want to say what it is, but, it's still, it curbs your appetite in, no, he's not gone. Godzilla will always.
Of course.
Live on.
Yeah, because this is a prequel to everything.
Yes,
it's a prequel to the first Godzilla movie, dude, so he's not gone.
And when I went into this movie and I went to go see it in the theater, I didn't know anything about the plot. I just knew it was a Godzilla movie and it took place during World War II. That's all I knew. It was right around that time. It was a period piece set, which I don't think has been done ever since the original Godzilla. So for me, I was like, I can't wait to see this. I didn't know anything about it. And when I went in, I was like, wow. When I left, I was like, this is probably one of the best Godzilla movies ever. I think it's fair to say.
I've never been a Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
And it's always been because it's just so cheesy. It's so silly. I don't like the guys in a rubber suit thing.
No.
Never been a fan of that.
And they made this Godzilla feel like the rubber suit Godzilla, but he looked cooler, obviously. Yeah. He was CGI.
Even in the 70s when they started doing the Godzilla dance, they did a lot of really silly things with Godzilla. And I'm like, this is just dumb.
They are dumb, but they're great.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
People love it for what it is. And that's, my buddy Horror Show.
Yeah.
Godzilla is his thing. And he is constantly trying to get me to watch Godzilla movies, but it's just not my thing. The legendary films kind of changed that. And I was like, okay, this, it's more of, like I said, it's more of a disaster film. And I love disaster movies.
Yeah.
This kind of went in that same direction. I know that the last one, I think Final Wars, was it?
No, I think it was Shin Godzilla was the last one.
Yeah,
and they made him, this was better than that one.
I want to see that.
Shin Godzilla, he is the ugliest Godzilla probably. This Godzilla and the Godzilla and Godzilla -1 didn't look as sinister. The Shin Godzilla was gross looking.
I've never seen that, but I've heard it's amazing. Like,
it's good too.
If you like the legendary Godzilla, then you'd like Shin. I feel like they're trying to catch up. They're like,
maybe
legendary took it to another level with the budget and the CG and everything. It's like, well, if you're gonna make a new Godzilla movie, it has to be at least that good.
Godzilla minus one, in my opinion, was better than Shin Godzilla.
It was
but
better than all the legendaries.
yeah,
Too.
it was. It was better
Excellent.
than,
It
and I
was
like
excellent.
King of the Monster. I like the
Yes.
2014 Godzilla.
Yes. Yeah, I
So,
loved those. Those are
in my
all fun.
opinion,
They wiped the floor with them.
yes, this was probably the best Godzilla. I think most people are saying that's the best Godzilla movie. Just kind of the overall story they were telling, where you care about these characters, and you're getting your Godzilla fix as well. The destruction, dude. Though he becomes a bomb when he shoots out his fire breath. It's not just the fire. It's like he becomes an atomic bomb. Yeah. And I'll leave it at that, because I think a lot of people haven't seen this yet, and people are probably waiting for it to stream. But number one film of 2023. It was a toss-up between this and Cobweb, because it's technically not horror, but it's pretty fucking horrific. Yeah. So I'm leaving it as my number one. I don't care.
Fine.
Godzilla minus one.
It was a great movie.
Louie's favorite movie of 2023. Godzilla minus one. With Cobweb being a close second right there. So, all right, Manny. Go get into your top five.
As I said, I like to find a lot of those lesser known films. I like to watch those things, but my top five ended up being a bunch of films, mostly films that people know. Number 5, Thanksgiving. I thought it was one of the most perfect slashers done in a long time. I've been waiting for it. We went to see Grindhouse together. So we saw the original Thanksgiving together. That's how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
We saw that together, and that Thanksgiving trailer became infamous. It was one of the greatest things that we'd ever seen. It caused us to make our first feature together.
Still one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
So. And so when Eli Roth finally said he was making Thanksgiving, this was like, oh, please don't fuck this up. Because in all honesty, Eli Roth has some really shitty movies.
Yeah.
He's made some real shitty movies. He made some really good movies, but he's made some really shitty ones. And unfortunately, as a horror fan, you tend to look at the shitty ones and say, please don't do that,
Chris and I covered it on Patreon. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first thing we talked about, how polarizing his like filmography is, because most people don't like his stuff, or like Cabin Fever is great. And what's it called? Hostel's all right. Is my
favorite of his.
I have to rewatch that one.
Knock Knock I love, but it's a remake of Death Game.
Yeah.
And I think they did it better. Like Death Game is good, is really good, but I think Knock Knock was better. Cabin Fever 2. Cabin Fever. Hostel 2 is better than Hostel 1. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Thanksgiving, I feel like it nailed it. It absolutely nailed it. It was exactly what I wanted the film to be. It was a little funny. It was very gory. It wasn't too long. It was it was everything that the trailer promised, that like Thanksgiving in Boston,
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey too, giving Patrick Dempsey a career resurgence.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yes.
No, he was great in it. Yeah, he's great in it.
And what I didn't know is that's his real voice.
He's really?
He's from Boston, and he had to shed the Boston accent to do Can't Buy Me Love. So he actually took like classes to learn how to get rid of his accent in order to do that film, or he wasn't going to be able to do it. They wanted the accent gone. They would have cut him. So him being able to use his natural Boston accent in this film is crazy. And they cast, I actually know a couple people who tried out for the film and were close to it. My friend Diana was almost the waitress in the restaurant.
Oh, cool.
The one that they kill in the freezer. She's actually related to the real John Carver, that actress, the one in the movie.
Oh, yes, wow.
The one in the movie is related to the real John Carver. She's like his great-great-great-granddaughter or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know, like randomly, like they didn't even mean to do that. It just happened. But I thought the movie was really good. They changed the most iconic death, but I feel like, okay, I wanted to see the knife in the cooter, but like I wanted to see it, but like I have seen it.
Yeah.
And even that, it's probably as much fun as it is, it's probably the low point of the movie, because it's clearly shoved in there, because Eli Roth knew if he didn't do it, people were going to be upset that it wasn't there. but it comes totally out of left field. It's two characters we have not seen up until this point. They're just suddenly there, and they walk through a curtain, and there's a trampoline. It's like he shoved it in because he knew he couldn't get away with not.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, okay, fine. So he tamed it down a little bit. He made it a little bit more realistic, you know, where she's just falling on the knife, like on her back, and they did so okay. But otherwise, the film was so much fun. A really ton of fun.
No, I agree. It's in my top 10. It'd probably be like number 7 or like around there, maybe 7 or 8. Again, head over to Patreon to listen to my thoughts about Thanksgiving. Trying to push more people over there. I'll say this. I enjoyed it. There's certain things about it I wasn't crazy about, mostly character-wise, but it's also a slasher movie, and I realized that going in.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the two characters in the trampoline scene. Yeah. It's funny. I put up a clip from the Patreon episode about the trampoline scene. I did listen to that clip. I'm
not on the Patreon, unfortunately.
Oh, Manny, you have to join. I was going to say, so we talked about that scene.
Patreon members understand that other hosts of the show don't even have access to it. Yes. You are exclusive.
So in that scene, we thought the girl was the one that's in the fridge later, and someone corrected us in the comments.
Yeah, she's not.
It's someone else. Because to me, the characters were so kind of vanilla.
They were just
I didn't even. Chris thought it was the same girl. I thought it was the same girl. I thought she survived the stabbing trampoline incident because they were sort of just like, it's people have survived way worse in horror movies.
They have.
So for
Scream
me, it's
6,
like
everybody's stabbed 1,000 times
and survived.
They all survived.
So for me, I was just like, I didn't even notice, and that was I'll say again. That was my one issue, was like the characters. Patrick Dempsey's Patrick Dempsey. So, of course, I'm going to know him and like him and enjoy him.
Of course.
But a good chunk of the other people, I was just like, who, what? Okay. All right. As a slasher film, though, it was a blast.
It was. What really sold it and put it in the top is that I genuinely did not see who the killer was.
I guessed it.
They genuinely, like, I really thought it was who they kept pushing it to. Yeah. Even when I really trying not to spoil it because
don't spoil it.
No, it's only like 3 months old, but there's the one scene where you see the guy going in.
Yeah.
And I even said it, I'm like, see, I said it in the movie, I told you it was him, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, you know what? You fooled me.
Yeah.
So
at one point, I leaned over and I said, "It's that person," and I was right.
I didn't think it was him.
40 minutes in, I was like, "Oh, it's that person."
I thought it in the beginning,
and
then they genuinely turned me against it. Yeah, I thought in the beginning, I'm like, because that conversation, there's one conversation, and they even call back to it. When that conversation happened, I said,
we're walking around spoilers. Let's be careful.
Yeah, really try not to. But
Thanksgiving was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
They did a good job of steering me away, and that's what puts it in my top 5.
Yeah.
Number 4 is going to be quick because we already covered it. I have the same number 4 as you, Evil Dead Rise.
That's funny. We both have it as number 4.
Same number 4. It was excellent. It was so cool. My favorite part, the reason why I like this so much is because I like Demons 2 better than Demons 1. I like Night of the Demons 2 better than Night of the Demons 1 because I like the high rise location of them. I like that, and putting Evil Dead into the apartment. Yeah. It speaks to the Queens kid in me. It speaks to the New York City
kid.
I feel,
yeah. That's how I feel.
I just find that to be creepier. I've always seen movies that they're in farmhouses or they're in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, why are you people in the middle of fucking nowhere?
Hey man, listen. One of the things I was always and Jason Takes Manhattan is one of my favorite in the entry. It's dumb, but I love it.
But I love it.
And I will always say
it's a location I can relate to.
The biggest issue I always had, and I remember as a little kid, and I know we're going off on a tangent here. We're going to be moving quickly through after this tangent. But
we already talked Evil Dead Rise. So
I said there was the scene that was missing in that movie is Jason chasing someone through an apartment building in New York. Does not happen.
That would
And
be
there's
nice.
not a lot of slasher movies in an urban setting in a 5 or 6 story apartment building like we grew up around and in and stuff. So the fact that Evil
Poltergeist
Dead
3 is my favorite of them. I
so
love it.
not too many, and I think that's because of budget. A lot of these movies can't afford to shoot in a giant building. But Evil Dead did it, and I think there should be more urban city set slasher possession type movies. There's not enough of them. You know, Candyman it's why I love Candyman. All apartment buildings. I love that.
Candyman.
So, yes, one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. Yes, there it is. You've got it tattooed on you. So one of my favorite movies of all time is Candyman, and that's why it's all apartment buildings. So the projects, I love it. But yes, moving forward, what's your number 3?
It's a Wonderful Knife,
which was very good too.
Another really fun slasher.
Yeah.
Justin Long is such an underrated guy.
He's had a resurgence, dude. He was on the Goosebumps TV show, and he was my favorite part.
He did like 2-3 horror. He was in 3 different horror movies in the last 2 years, at least 3 in the last.
Barbarian,
and what's the other one? Oh, I forget. Man.
I forget.
House of Darkness.
Yeah, and the Goosebumps TV show that just came out last year, which was great. I had a good time. He's one of the main characters.
Do you know the character in It's a Wonderful Knife? This character, the teeth, that was all him.
Really?
He just showed up dressed that way.
That's great. That's great.
He just showed up. The fake teeth, he had the fake teeth made.
Yeah.
The costume, he just showed up on set with it, and that is what he was going to do. Great. And they were like,
that makes it better.
Yes.
Oh man, he almost looked like a Righteous Gemstones character.
Yes,
that's basically what minus he looked like he was plucked right out of that TV show and just put in a
probably
slasher
what he was
movie.
Going for.
Probably, he was great.
And Weirdo Bernie, I have the biggest crush on that character. Oh my God. When I walked out I wanted to date her at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I think that their little love story was perfectly put together. I thought that by the end, I was so happy that they were together, that Bernie remembered what happened. I think that the elements that they used from It's a Wonderful Life into this were integrated very, very well.
Yeah.
The comedy was done well. The kills were done well. The only thing that drove me a little nuts was how the fuck do you keep that white suit white? It's gotta
that's a nitpick.
He's gotta be changing. He's gotta change because he gets splattered.
Yeah, covered in blood. Yeah.
It is a nitpick, but otherwise I think from beginning to end the movie it really felt like Happy Death Day, which I absolutely love.
I love those movies too. Yeah. It felt like it would be it would fit right in that universe.
Yeah.
Like
that
the same universe.
I think Christopher Landon has perfected the tone of the horror comedy.
Yeah.
And this proves it, because it's not a Christopher Landon. I think he wrote this.
Oh, I don't know if he was involved at all.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check it. Writer.
It feels like something that would be.
No, he's not. What did he did something else then. But the director of this did Tragedy Girls.
Yeah, which was good too.
Which was also really good, and did Good Boy.
That was good too. Yeah.
Yes. So I think Christopher Landon nailed that, and people are starting to they're using his blueprint of what a horror comedy should be. Because I think years ago horror comedies were done really well with Saturday the 14th and Transylvania 6 5000.
Yeah.
And then there was a time where just horror comedies just became stupid. It became Scary Movie. Yeah. And it's this is just dumb.
I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think he's finally found the new formula that works.
It's probably in my top 10, honestly, as well. It's somewhere in the below 5, but it's in there. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd put I liked It's a Wonderful Knife more than Thanksgiving. So I'd be maybe It's a Wonderful Knife and then Thanksgiving as number 6 would be It's a Wonderful Knife, 7 would be Thanksgiving.
I think I've watched Wonderful Knife 4 or 5 times already.
I've only seen it once. I watched it during the holidays when it came out, so it was a perfect watch. It was a lot. I can see myself revisiting that during Christmas.
I'm glad I got to see it in the theater too.
I wanted to, dude. And it was not. By the time I looked it up and tried to go, it was not. It was screening at like 12 noon on like a Monday, and I just couldn't make it. So
me and Lynn got the AMC Plus pass
yeah.
in November to force us to go to the theater and see movies.
Yeah, man.
As for $25, as long as you see 2 movies in a month, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's forcing us to get up and go out to the movies, which is the only reason I saw Aquaman this weekend. Because it's like it's not costing me anything extra to go. So,
which you should see, and I haven't. I'll do it quick, and we'll continue with your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Things, phenomenal. That almost was in my top 5, but
things?
That's Poor Things with Emma Stone. And
oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
So good.
Is it?
But teeters on the line of horror.
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
It's one of those. Yeah. It just I don't know how to feel about it. Like I want to see it, but I feel like this is going to be weird for the sake of being weird. And
it was really good. I like that director's stuff, so I'd recommend. Yeah. It came out last year technically, but I just saw.
I liked Killing
weekend.
of a Sacred Deer
and
that
The
was
Lobster.
Good.
I like both of those movies.
I didn't bother with The Lobster. I didn't. Yeah.
Continue because we'll be here all night.
Yes. Number 2, I also saw in the theater. I'm proud. I got to see 4 of my 5 top 5 in the theater. When Evil Lurks.
Gotta watch that.
That's my number 2 of the year.
Haven't seen it. I've been hearing nothing. All I've heard is how great it is. So
it's a really good movie. Terrified was this director's previous film, which Evil Lurks is not as good as Terrified, but only marginally. So since you haven't seen it, and again a lot of people haven't, it's
definitely
on Shudder
don't
now.
Spoil it because I'm probably gonna watch it this weekend.
No.
So
what makes this movie so unique and so interesting is his storytelling style.
Okay.
He doesn't spoon feed you. He just puts you in the world and you figure it out as you go along. Essentially what happens is there's this guy this guy on the he comes across somebody who's going to a priest who's coming to this house who's supposed to take care of this kid, and the priest dies. So he ends up going to the house to tell the people, I'm very sorry, but the priest died. He's dead in the road or whatever. Well, wait a minute. The grandmother's there, and you see now the boy that he was coming to. The guy is like this 600-pound man laying in bed, like one of those, bedridden, like 1,000-pound people.
Yeah.
But he's all ooey and gooey and full of pus and nasty and everything.
Nice.
Essentially, not a spoiler, but we essentially live in a world where demonic possession is real and everyone knows it's real. There's no question, and then it goes from there. Okay. But they don't spoon feed you the world. They don't explain what's happening. They talk about things the way people would talk about it because it's common knowledge to them. So nobody's going to sit and say, well, because of this is it. There's no point where somebody sits and explains the lore of the film to you. They just let you figure it out as the movie moves
cool.
on.
That's cool.
Yes. So that's the genius of it.
I'm going to watch it this week.
Definitely watch it.
Yeah.
100%. If you've seen Terrified, if you like Terrified.
I did like Terrified.
This is very close, almost as good. You might like it more. I like Terrified more because I just like that demon better.
Okay.
I thought those demons and what the demon did, like that opening scene in the bathtub, literally made me jump the first time I saw it. I was like, holy shit, that.
Yeah. I have to I've only seen that once. I have to go back and watch that again too. So it's been a while. I think I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah, this one's more of a slow burn than that one.
I don't mind.
It's kind of things just kind of no, in a good way.
Okay.
Things creep up on you before you know it. It's too late and then you can't turn away. And the things that, like, as demon possession, it's going to cause people to do things. When the demon starts to take over people's minds and stuff like that. That's standard. But what it makes people do is so far out of left field. It's just going to be like, what did I just see?
I can't wait to watch it.
Yes.
Everybody I know that has seen it has told me, Louie, you have to watch this movie. It's fantastic. Yes. So yeah. I'm gonna do that. I tried to squeeze it in before the year ended, and I just didn't have time because there was other movies I wanted to watch before that. But I will watch it, and maybe we'll talk about it in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. Yep.
No, number one movie, Manny.
Number one. Back to the fact that I like to watch movies that nobody's seen before. My number one film is Candyland. I told you to watch it just so that you could at least see it because it's going to be my number one. So I'm curious what your opinion on this was. But
I enjoyed it.
this movie was everything I thought X was going to be.
Yeah, that was the first thing you told me when you
Yes.
when you were pushing it on me. You were telling me to
Yes,
to
it's
check
like
it
just
out.
so you watch it. Like,
Yeah.
this was. Do you agree with that? Because X was
Um,
not very disappointing, but disappointing for Ty West.
I really liked X. I like
liked
Pearl.
it.
I like Pearl more. It's a very
Yes, me
different
too.
movie. It feels like it was funny enough. One of the actors is an X. One of the
Yes,
guys.
yes, he is.
He's
He
an
is.
X. And I didn't know that until I watched the movie. I was like, oh shit, this guy. He was also in Super Dark Times. That actor, and he was great in Super Dark Times, which I also like that movie. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say I like it more than X. I think X is a better made movie, but Candyland was definitely a good movie. It was not. I enjoyed it. I think they do something different in Candyland. That's why it's like hard for me to. I can see aesthetic, like one takes place in the 70s, one's the 90s, one, you know, is about, you know, getting older and kind of, you know, life catching up with you and you not achieving what you want in life and then turning that into a slasher movie. Yeah. And then Candyland was more religion.
I meant more the porn film versus
the sleaziness was on par, I guess.
For the quick synopsis, Candyland is about a bunch of hookers in 1995, I think it is, at a truck stop in Texas.
Which was a great premise.
Right? Texas?
Yes, Texas.
Candyland is one of the girls named it Candyland. So the truckers come here and they are the hookers that work there. And the one guy, he's the male hooker of the he's the one male that's there. William Baldwin is the
he's like the sheriff.
He's the sheriff doing his best Daniel Baldwin impression.
And he's like in line with them. He's working with them.
Yeah. But he's so sleazy.
He's great in it. He's like honestly my favorite part.
He's great.
Yeah.
There's a girl. There's a local, a religious cult of sorts. I would call it cult just because to me most religious things are cults, but a religious group that lives near the area, and they come out there and they picket, and their leader is always talking to the girls, trying to get them to convert and blah blah blah, and one of their followers is kicked out of the congregation. So she comes to Candyland because it's the first place outside of it. And she befriends some of the hookers who were there. And they say, well, you know, you can stay here with us. We don't want you, blah, 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 but you have to work. So they kind of bring her into the life. Yep. And I don't want to spoil at all because this movie is filled with surprises.
Yeah, the ending is it's a good ending.
Even before the
outside of that,
45 minutes in, there's a surprise.
Yeah, you think it's going one way and it pivots, which I did like. Yeah.
The movie's filled with surprises, but basically somebody starts killing people at Candyland. People start dying. I'm not even going to explain who dies. Because it's another very lesser known film. It's on Tubi.
I didn't know about it until you told me. I did not know this movie existed until you said something to me. So
I knew about it because I knew about it when they were making it because of Blood and Honey. I thought it was a Candyland the game movie.
Okay.
And that's why I was looking forward to it.
Far from that.
Totally far from it.
Yeah.
Completely far from it. You know, but even when I went to go watch it, I still thought I was about to watch a Candyland horror movie. You know, so I'm watching the first 10 minutes. I'm trying to connect what the game has to do.
That's amazing. Why is this movie called Candyland?
What? So she called it Candyland. They're hookers. Okay. Maybe they all have gumdrop nipples or something.
That would have been a twist.
You know? So that's the reason why I knew about it, because I heard Candyland and I initially thought it was just going to be based on the game. I thought we're in for a rash of these. But it has absolutely nothing to do with it. It is really twisted, really dark. My opinion, I felt like it was a combination of X, Doom Generation, and Freeway 2.
I can see all those references in the movie,
and you know, I know you love Doom Generation.
I love all
movies
all
of all
those.
time.
Yeah, Doom Generation is one of my favorite. That was my high school movie right there.
Yes,
So.
And Freeway 2 is just Absolutely
Free.
phenomenal
I
to
love
me.
Freeway. I like both of them. I like
I
the
love them
first
both.
one. Yeah, first one's
Yes.
great. Reese
But
Witherspoon.
that was my combination. I felt like that it had elements of all of them. And again, it's what I thought X was gonna be because I expected more out of Ty West is what it was.
No,
It
I
wasn't that
get
it was a
that.
bad movie. I just have such high expectations for Ty West that X just kind of fell below it, you know.
Hmm.
But we'll talk about that in a minute, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, Candyland, it's on Tubi. I highly recommend everybody to watch it because it's oh man, it's just so
It
fucking
was
good.
good. It was
Loved
good.
it.
It was good. I will say I forget the actress' name. She was in It
Mhm.
Follows. She's great in it. Josh Brolin's daughter. She's good in it. Did you know that? That was
Yep.
Josh Brolin's
Yes.
daughter. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
she's great in it. The other, I'm not familiar with anything else. She's blonde.
Uh,
She's in it. I thought
yeah.
she was
Eden
great.
Brolin, Olivia
Yeah,
Lucardi
yeah.
was in It Follows.
The performances are great. I'll say that without spoiling anything else. But
Mhm.
everyone, there's not like a cringy, eye roll, boring kind of
No.
like
It
they
has its
seem.
moments where you're just kind of like,
It's
okay,
not a
but
boring movie either. Like it's
no,
not like
no,
the
no, not at all.
dialogue is snappy, which I liked, and you see the story unravel, which I enjoyed. Like you said,
And
I feel like we're gonna spoil it, so I don't want to.
no,
I'm gonna
yeah. Well, another thing about it
tight lip
is
right now.
yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
about the writing itself.
yeah,
The women together, you genuinely believe that they're friends.
yeah. It's
Their
authentic.
relation, yes, is
Mhm.
very authentic. Their relationship, they created a bunch of women in a movie without them. Then they're all hookers, but they're not stereotypes. They all
Yeah,
have fully fleshed out backstories, and they're human beings.
yeah. Even I think
You know,
the guy
it's
from X,
very
that
well written.
actor, he's great too. Like I don't
Owen
want to
Campbell.
say, yeah, his character explaining
Mhm.
the existence for him at this hooker
Yeah.
hotel Candyland place. I dug that. I dug his like character
Yes.
development throughout. You know what he's
Yeah.
doing with as a is it a, I don't know what another word for a prostitute is, but nonetheless,
Hooker, prostitute.
hooker prostitute. What
Yes.
he's doing with his I guess tricks the guys
Mhm.
and gals, it's interesting with the development of his character. It was
Yeah.
good, dude. It was very good. I did
Yeah.
enjoy it. I have to watch it again. It's one of the movies I have to watch a second time to, I think,
Mhm.
fully take
I'm gonna
in.
watch it a second time because Lynn hasn't seen it yet, so I got to
Okay.
put it on for her at
Yeah.
some point too.
It was good.
But
It was very
yeah.
good. Well made, and I could see why you chose. This looks like this is the type of movie I know you would like to make that's
Yes,
not
100%.
supernatural. A
No,
non-supernatural.
100%.
If you directed a film that was no supernatural elements, because for the most part, stuff we've worked on together and stuff you've done with me not even involved has been,
Mhm.
for the most part, supernatural.
Yes.
So if you
Yeah.
made a non-supernatural film, this is
Yeah.
Candyland would be the type of movie in that realm. Very good movie. I like that you picked something very deep cut. A deep cut best of
It is,
2023. That was a deep cut. I don't think anyone takes a Tubi movie serious.
No.
So that's the other thing. I think a lot of people haven't seen it because it's on Tubi, and Tubi's
Yes.
notorious for having a lot of crap on it and a lot of old movies that are classics. So
Yeah.
the crap gets kind of mixed in with the good
Again,
stuff.
Devil
And
Comes at Night was on Tubi as well.
Yeah, so-
yeah, I've been going through a lot of Tubi films. They have a
I'd
lot of
recommend-
really good stuff. You really got to look, but
between our two, top 5 films of 2023, I'd say Candyland and Cobweb. Both of those movies, if you have not seen them, give them a watch. I'd
Yeah.
say, because if you missed those last year, check them out. I think, for people that listen to Haunted Hangover that are big Halloween fans and horror fans, obviously, watch Cobweb because it's the best of both worlds, and more in the realm of exploitation horror. Candyland kind of
Yep.
curbs that appetite, I guess, if you dig that type of stuff.
And it's bloody.
It is.
Oh,
It is
man.
violent. That last
It's really
the
violent.
last act is pretty
Yeah.
rough.
Yes.
And there's some other rough kind of exploitation-y
There's a
stuff
lot
that
of
happens.
really uncomfortable
Yeah.
scenes too. Like
It's about
like, it's hard to sit
prostitutes.
through.
So
Yeah.
lots of
Yes.
nudity, lots of sex in the movie as well.
Oh
So,
man, is there a lot of nudity?
Yes,
Holy
yes.
shit!
So-
I think Candyland has more nudity
yeah,
than all of our picks.
probably.
I mean,
Yes.
there's more nudity in this one film than all of the others combined.
Yeah, my pick's only one movie has nudity
Yeah.
in it. That's Infinity Pool, and that's basically
Yeah,
it.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
So-
none of them. Thanksgiving
no.
didn't even have any nudity.
No. Did
No.
it? I don't
No.
even remember. It might have had
No.
maybe a pair of boobs in there somewhere. I don't
Maybe.
remember.
Let's
All right.
move on.
Anticipated.
Final
This is
category.
the home stretch. 8 hours later. All right. Anticipated movies. We'll just fire these off. We won't get into it too much. Fire them off. I've got 4 here. I'm curious whatever you have. If you have 2 or 3 only, that's fine too. I'm going to fire these off. I have 4.
Because I'm sure most of ours are going to be, I'm sure we're going to have a couple.
Yes.
So I tried to look for ones that you might not have.
Nosferatu.
Of course, 100%.
I loved The Northman, which I mentioned earlier. I loved The Witch. I loved The Lighthouse. Is it Robert Eggers is the director, I believe?
Yep.
Guy has hit a home run every time to me. I like all his stuff. So I'm looking forward to his take. I think it's going to be sick. I think it's going to be great. From the images I've seen, and he hasn't even revealed what Bill Skarsgård is going to look like as Orlok. I'm sure that guy looks like the vampire without makeup. So I'm sure he's going to look fantastic when he's all done up. The cast is great. William Dafoe obviously is always in his stuff. I think it's going to be great. It's probably my most anticipated film for 2024. Next up, Maxine. You knew it was coming.
Again, I agree with that one too.
You knew it was coming. Maxine.
I'm looking forward to that more than the other two because as much as I have my issues with, I think Maxine is going to be the one that I think
it's going to be the best one.
I think so too. Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be the one people like the most.
This is the one that I want to see. The new Ty West movie that I've been waiting for.
I think the fact that it's set in the 80s and, his career was launched because of a top period piece in the 80s as well. Everyone loves House of the Devil. And I think it's going to be House of the Devil with a bigger budget and probably better acting. And I like X. I like Pearl. I think this is just going to be both of those movies combined and I think the movie's probably going to end up having like a great soundtrack, great performances. It's going to look great.
And he better have a fucking soundtrack. He's good at music.
Yeah. So it's going to probably going to be fantastic. I'm hoping it's better than I don't even know where they're going to go.
I don't know. Where do you go? Next year, we're going to be next year, 2024 wrap up is going to be all about us going back, listening to this and being like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, probably. I think it's going to be good. I like all his stuff. There's a couple of things here and there where he did, he kind of flubbed certain aspects of his films, but I like what he does for the most part. Like Robert Eggers, I've liked all his stuff. So I think I have a feeling, I hope I'm right, that these two will be some of my favorite films of this year when we do this next year. All right. The third on my list, funny enough, we mentioned him earlier, Beetlejuice 2. I don't know where you go with it doesn't need a sequel. I don't know if it might suck.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards more it's going to be probably mediocre. Whatever. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice again. Yeah. That's about it.
I am too. That and Winona Ryder.
Yes.
I feel like throwing Jenna Ortega in there. She's a great actress. Nothing against her. She's a good actress. But I feel almost like they put her in there just because she's popular and she's playing Wednesday. And so she's got to be in there.
I'm going to call it right now. Beetlejuice 2 is going to make bank.
Of course it is. Oh, it's good
because of the brand recognition,
even if it's terrible,
and her. I think
even if it's terrible, it's going to pull 200 million.
Oh, dude, because of her and because of what it is, I think it's going to be probably Tim Burton's highest grossing movie in a while. Because I don't know what his last Alice in Wonderland. I don't know what they did, but I think it's going to do
anything of his since like Sleepy Hollow.
Same here. We talked about it somewhere recently. I forget where, but on a show of the episode, one of the episodes of the show.
I have no hopes for this whatsoever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you know me, I like sequels. I like remakes. Yeah. I like it, but I just have no interest.
I don't know where you go with a sequel, but I think Michael Keaton's always going to be great as Beetlejuice. I think he's she'll be great as Lydia, and I like Jenna Ortega, so I think
I do too.
She's likable, so I think it'll be at least a charismatic film. Doesn't mean it's going to be good. They'll all be probably charismatic as hell, but it doesn't mean the plot and where it goes. And William Dafoe's in it too, which is interesting. So I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
My nicest way of saying it is I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yes.
So that hopefully I'm just pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that because Beetlejuice is just too important.
Yes.
You know, you saw the musical. The musical was freaking great.
I had a blast with it. It was so good.
Again, so it's like, if this movie is not at least better than the musical, dude, Tim Burton, just fucking retire. I'm sorry.
People have wanted a Beetlejuice sequel for 30 something years, and we're finally getting it. Let's see what happens. And the last one on my list, I didn't really look up any list of movies that are coming out. I just kind of wung this list. And it's about to come out in the next 2 months. And we mentioned it earlier as well. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, I think is what it's called. I'm looking forward to it, dude. I had a great time with Godzilla versus Kong.
What's his name doing it again?
Yeah. Oh, Wingard. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
And he's got Dan Stevens is in it from The Guest, which, I'm a big Guest guy. So it's a little reunion, little guest reunion. I'm hoping we get some more of that Dan Stevens, once again, charisma in a Godzilla Kong movie. I just think it's going to be fun. It looks like fun. You've got a giant orangutan as the antagonist.
That's not Kong.
An evil Kong. Godzilla turns hot neon pink.
Or dinosaurs.
Godzilla and Kong are teaming up together again to fight something.
Next to each other.
It looks so dumb. But it knows what it is.
Especially after -1. This is so stupid.
It knows. And they released the trailer right after that movie came out. It knows what it is. It knows what it is.
Yes.
I'll tell you this. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a dumb popcorn 100%. Movie. It is what I look for in a stupid blockbuster.
Yep.
I'd rather go see that than Ant-Man, whatever is coming out. I just rather see
another
Godzilla.
Ant-Man movie?
Whatever. I don't even know. I'm out of the loop with Marvel, dude. But those are my anticipated films. Are there any on your end that I didn't mention?
I gotta be honest, I watched Aquaman because of I'll watch Amber Heard. I don't give a shit.
I don't.
I like Amber
I don't care
Heard.
I don't care about Aquaman.
I don't care about Aquaman either. I like Amber Heard though. Sorry.
Whatever.
Lynn doesn't care about Aquaman. She likes Jason Momoa. So we were both happy.
There you go. Moving on. What are some anticipated films that come to mind?
I'm just gonna ride the Dan Stevens train.
Okay.
Cuckoo.
Yes, you're right. I forgot about that.
Cuckoo. I'm gonna ride that train. I don't know much about it. I know that it's about a girl. It's something, she's got a family. She doesn't belong. Something. The story of a cuckoo bird is that a cuckoo bird lays its eggs in the nest of another, in order for another species of bird to raise its young as its own. So I'm assuming it's doing something like that. I've been looking at, there's been a bunch of movies recently that have done that kind of bird cuckoo thing, like hatchling and stuff like,
I don't know much about this one either. So
yeah, I've been hearing about this for a while, and it's doing well at film festivals. I heard it's really, really twisted and disturbing. And I'm like, all right. So I'm looking forward to Cuckoo.
Promising. I'm looking forward to seeing it too now. I remember hearing about it, but I don't know much about it. So.
And Dan Stevens sold it, right?
Yo.
And
he's the man.
A couple of the girls from Euphoria are in it. I've never seen Euphoria,
right, cool.
But I know that's what they're popular for.
Euphoria is a good show. I'm a fan.
I've not watched the show. I've watched clips of it because of the cinematography, which is just gorgeous.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm afraid if I watch the movie, if I watch the show itself, I may not like the show anymore. So I'm like, I'm just going to watch the cinematography for what it is.
I don't think it'll be your cup of tea, in all honesty.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
no, I don't think so. It just, okay. Two more. One which was just announced recently. I know nothing about it, but I don't have to know anything about it. I'm going to watch it because I love Kevin Tenney. So anything coming from a Kevin Tenney has to go. They're doing a Witchboard remake. And as you see, I have a Witchboard replica right there. Witchboard 2 is one of my favorite. I love cursed object films, and Witchboard 2 is so. I'm looking forward to it personally.
I wonder what they do with that, but we'll see.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I don't. But you know what? Like I said, I love Kevin Tenney's his horror films.
Yeah.
So seeing a remake of his, I don't know if he's involved. He might be. If he is, I'd love to see it. I'd love it even more, you know. But I
Yeah.
love Witchboard, and
Witchboard's
seeing
awesome.
something. Yes, you know, and after the Ouija, the first movie sucked. The second one was really good.
Ouija
Origin of
2 is
Evil was really
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know me, I like cursed objects, so I feel like we need more Ouija boards in films.
We
We
need
need
more
more Ouija.
evil
That's
spirit
it.
boards in movies.
That's it. And number three, you probably forgot about it, and I know that you're going to agree with me on this one. The New Strangers trilogy.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that. Oh shit.
Yep. Three
Yes.
New Strangers movies.
I love those two movies. So yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe that slipped my mind
Yep.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to those. They look,
100%
I saw
looking
images
forward
of
to
like the way they look now. They look more grimy and intimidating.
They
The Three Strangers. So yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder where they go with that trilogy. A whole trilogy. That's,
Yes.
I wonder what they're doing with
yep.
that. Interesting. All right. To wrap it all up, wrap
Oh,
up
one
the
more.
episode. Oh, you've got one more. Okay.
I don't know if it's coming this year, but it's more. I think it's more. They're doing another Fear Street.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
They announced a couple weeks ago they're doing another Fear Street.
Those
They're
were
doing
fun.
another midnight. What do they call it?
Which ones?
The Christopher Pike one that they did.
Oh, Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
Yes,
They're doing
yes.
another of that.
I'm more excited
well.
about the Fear Street. Not
I
is it
figured,
Fear
yeah.
Street. Yeah, that
Yeah, they are
I had,
doing another Fear Street.
I had fun with those. Those were fun. They were long, but they were fun. I had a
only
good time
watched
with
the first one,
They're good.
but
I like
I
them.
never. It was the last episode of Collection Resurrection. We had a
Yeah. There you go.
we had an advanced copy of Fear Street, and we never watched part 2 and 3.
I enjoyed them. I thought they were
Cool.
they were a fun streaming event films to watch, and everyone was talking about them and stuff. All right, to wrap up this 3-hour live stream.
Yeah. That's what live streams do, man.
Yes, we just went on and on and on. We'll try to.
So everybody knows now.
Yes.
In a little bit of a tribute to our leader here. This is approximately how long episodes normally go. And when you get like that hour 15, hour 20-minute cut, he's edited it down from 2.5 hours. He cuts it down and gets it to its bare. So
Yeah.
you listen to this whole thing normally on a weekly basis. This is what he's working with.
And I'll be continuing to do that in the future
Yes.
on episodes of ours that run way too long.
Yes, this is the type of work he puts into this show
Yeah.
on a regular basis, and the point of the live shows is kind of to do some of it without having to put the extra work on.
And I'll say this before, because we're about to get into, quick little 2024 goal resolution to
Preview.
yourself. To what you want, a personal goal, Manny. Goal is what I want to know from you. Anything. It could be anything that you want to mention. Just put it out there. I know resolutions are, some people hate them, some people like them, whatever. I just think it'd be a fitting way to end our recap
right
of
now,
2023. Not right now, but one
Okay.
second. I also want to point out, because you talked about how long our episodes are. If you're listening to this, if you've made it this far, this will also be on the podcast feed, audio only. So if you're just listening to this on the podcast feed, definitely in the future when we do one of these, come in, join the conversation. We're not a big channel or anything, so we had a couple people here in the chat kind of communicating with us, talking to us. Even if it's 5 people, 3 people, 25 people, 50 people, it's just fun to kind of have you guys dictate some of the breaks we take and stuff we talk about. We had an entire Beetlejuice conversation, and I did not anticipate that at all early on. So yeah, in the future, we'll be promoting when we do these and when we, talk about, whatever the future, because not all of our live streams will be this. We'll have some episodes of some live.
We're covering an
episodes.
entire
Yeah,
year.
we'll have some episodes where we just talk about nonsense, maybe current, news in the world of horror and Halloween, which I definitely would like to do in the future. Also, some other topics. Mm-hmm.
Well, in that, I said this year, another reason why I watch so many movies, I do a Horror 365 challenge. I did it this year. And the Horror 365 challenge, it pops up on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's everywhere. People just basically watch 365 horror movies throughout the course of the year. That's unfortunately very, very easy for me to do. Yeah. I think I clocked almost 600 horror films for the year. My personal challenge is 365 horror films that I have not seen before. And I'm already like 12 movies into it for this year. you know? So that's going to be a regular part of these live as well, is me just kind of, here's some of the really awesome films that I've seen for the first time.
Yeah.
That we're not going to do. We maybe don't need an entire episode on it, but like, I watched 37 movies this month. Here's 3 or 4 of the best that I've watched type
Yeah,
things, you know?
and I'm gonna try to do the 365 challenge. I
It's a
failed at the Halloween one, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna try this year. And when we do these again,
Well-
they'll be once a month, maybe twice a month.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the normal episodes of the podcast
Still
will
gonna
also
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
still happening, still getting. This is not taking over. There might be a month where we don't do one of these live streams. It depends on scheduling and availability, but you know, like I said early, 18 hours ago, we'll have guests on possibly too.
18 hours.
And stuff like that. You know me as, you know, the main Haunted Hangover guy. I'll be, you know, I love having new voices on the show, joining me, Manny, me and Dave, me and Chris, me and Sam, the usual suspects you see on the podcast with me. And, you know, right now, Lauren said we should do a crossover with Podmortem. I'm not familiar with them, so maybe I'll hit them up. You guys want to join us here and shoot the shit? Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, you'll be able to.
We know a few other podcasts. I'm sure we can.
We'll do some crossover. You know? The point of this is
Faculty of Horror. I know Andrea, so
the point of these episodes and the point of these live streams is to just kind of do an unfiltered, unedited, fun. Hit us up with questions and stuff. You know, it's hard to build up, and you know, again, we're a small channel, so you build up an audience that way. You interact with people, which I like doing. I know some people are not big commenters. Hey, maybe you hate these shows. Let us know why you hate Haunted Hangover.
That's it.
I'm cool with that too.
Spam the chat with hate.
I have thick skin, so just let me know.
Almost as thick as his mustache.
Yes, almost as thick as this beautiful stash you see right now. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Manny, thank you for joining me in the inaugural episode of the Haunted Hangover live show, live podcast, Haunted Hangover Live. There's no set in stone name for it yet. Maybe we'll come up with a funky name in the future. But yes, close out the show. Your goal, personal goal for 2024. Is there a goal or something you're trying to accomplish? Whether it's artistic, life, something with movies. I don't know. What's your goal, Manny?
Other than watching 365 more horror films.
Yes.
I'd like to have a successful film festival in July. I run the Long Island International Film Expo,
which we might be in the future jumping on here. And we never really talk about our filmmaking and film festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do a little offshoot episode, just shooting the shit about that. So sorry to cut you off.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm one of the festival directors there. I'm currently in the middle of watching all the films and submissions for that. So we are still open for submissions. You're a filmmaker out there, send us your film, Long Island International Film Expo. So I hope for a successful festival in July. But my real main goal is I'm trying to segment my year. So the first half of the year is really focused on the film festival. Second half of the year, because it's been a while, ever since before the pandemic, I haven't made a film since before the pandemic. So I'm trying to make it where my life is going to kind of go that way, because I know other people who are filmmakers and they run film festivals. That's kind of how they do it. They spend a good portion of the year on the festival. The rest of the year, they focus on filmmaking. So I would like to, by the end of this year, be at the very least starting production on my next feature. That's my personal goal.
And funny enough, that's one of my goals as well. So, I've produced and directed one feature film. Obviously, I've worked with you, and we can get into that one day, maybe. We've done stuff together, and lately a lot of my directing has been more of a director for hire for music videos and short films. But I really want to make another movie. I'm in the middle of writing the second draft of my next feature. So my plan is to finish that in the next month or two and start pre-production. I already know what the movie is. Not going to cost me a lot of money. I have no idea what
the movie's going to be.
So maybe.
I do not know. No, I'm talking to a friend of mine who wants to produce the film for us and help us find some money. And I was like, I don't know what it's going to be. He's like, fine, let's hire a writer then. Yeah. You got an idea? Let's hire a writer. I was like, all right,
I'm in the same boat.
Do that.
I'm in the same boat. There's people I know that want to help out, and there's some mutual people we know that want to help out and kind of co-producing my next feature. Because my first one I did completely by myself a while ago. So
Yeah.
try to do that, get that rolling, and more video content here at Haunted Hangover. Keep pushing Haunted Hangover along. I love doing this. I love the brand I've created. It's still small. I love doing the show. I love the vlog videos like we did at Chambers of Hell. I want to do more of that. I want to do more cocktail videos, more just kind of fun video stuff. Continue with the podcast, continue with now these live streams. Put more stuff on my table that I can't handle. But
I like the live streams personally.
Yeah.
I think this is really cool. I'm kind of upset with the fact that I can't do live on TikTok because you need 1,000 followers to go live on TikTok.
Keep
So
keep doing it, man. Keep get to that goal. Keep pushing for 1,000.
So I'm all
followers.
for doing live shows like this where you just go through it, and I'm all for this. I like this. And this is fun to me.
And there will be more. There will be more of these, and just keep an eye out. You know, as always, follow. This is where I close out the show. The big send off. Subscribe.
Maybe next time you'll use some of those fancy filters you got over there.
Possibly
that you didn't use this time.
Possibly in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. Head over to hauntedhangover.com for links to everything associated with Haunted Hangover, like our Patreon page, which was mentioned several times in this live stream. I apologize in advance, but it's the only way you can support Haunted Hangover in any way. And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more booze.
More booze.
Check out that cool hair clip. Look at that hair clip. How cool is that?
That is a pretty cool hair clip. Little Billy.
Is that
Saw.
Yeah. Is that not cool? Yeah.
That is
I got
cool.
a Jason one too.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Catch you later. Bye.